Sorry, I'm late, Jordan.
For the people that laughed at that joke, hell yeah. Fuck it, we're doing it live.
How many episodes of our podcast have we started that way, Chris?
I think Matt starts like a third of the podcast that way. He's like, fuck it, we'll do it live. It's like he does a Bill O'Reilly impression every time.
To play off the show? To play me out? What does that mean? To end the show? And he just gets so fucking pissed off. He's like, go, go, go. So goddamn good. Apparently, he just had like a Karen moment the other day at the airport when he was on his way to his fucking vacation in the Turks and Caicos.
Who?
Fucking life is a
Bill
Karen
O'Reilly.
moment.
Oh God.
That fucking asshole.
I can't believe he's still alive.
I can. He's got millions of dollars.
Isn't he just doing podcasting now?
It's a good thing we don't hear about him.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was alive.
Because he settled with all the sexual harassment claims he had against him, right?
Yeah.
He just did a book tour with Trump.
Yep.
Yep, that pans out. That's how it works.
He's still around. He's doing the Trump thing, man. He's just retreating deeper into the bubble.
Yeah, it's a profitable bubble.
You guys see the video
with
of Josh Hawley?
Fucking saps will give you their money.
Did you guys see the video of Hawley?
No.
Oh my god!
Where he's running for his life.
Yeah.
And then he has a fist in the air when he's behind like a fucking army of cops and Secret Service agents.
I mean, we're all laughing, but you know, how much money did he make off of that? I mean, for all we know, he got crazy amounts of donations.
Are we talking about the video, or are we still talking about Hawley?
Wait, are we talking about AOC? Who are we talking about?
No, we're talking about Holly. Holly, the guy who it turns out he was running like a bitch the whole time.
Yep.
Oh, and yeah, if you actually watch the Senate reaction, like the whole room busts into laughter.
I saw that.
So good.
That was so funny.
Fucking guy.
Because they were like bawling laughing. It was hilarious.
So goddamn good.
Oh, you know. Bro, our entire government is just a bunch of fucking jokesters. Like, all of them. Like, think about, like, AOC, like, pretending to get arrested. And then this fucking guy over here, like...
But what's up with that? Matt, Chris, I know that you guys, Heather, I think you all three did an episode about that. I don't really know what the fuck is up with
drop
AOC
on Monday.
Being arrested. Like, did she fake it? Did she not? I don't know. I saw some...
No, actually, I don't think she did. I don't think she did.
So the arrest was not fake. She absolutely 100% got arrested.
Hold on. No.
She
100% was cited. There's a big fucking difference. AOC was not cited, thrown in a car, taken downtown, processed, and charged with a crime. She was cited with an infraction.
It's an uncustodial arrest. That's what it is. By definition, that's what it was. So that's why I'm saying she got arrested, because it was an uncustodial arrest. So I think anyone trying to say she faked being arrested, like I mean I get it, but it doesn't really hold water.
Mm-hmm. I want to combat you on that one though, because I think it does. Because what is an arrest? An arrest is being put into custody. An arrest is being held and put into custody. So when it's a non-custodial arrest, that's like saying it's an elephant-free room of elephants.
Being arrested means you're in handcuffs, right?
No, not necessarily, but it means you're detained.
Yeah, no,
and it means you're arrested.
More than that. Yeah.
And again, like, it's not even a hill I want to die on. Like, I don't care. Like, it's not the argument I'm interested in having. The big thing that was for me is the handcuff thing. I think was performative. And again, you can do it's a he said, she said thing, but the moment she came out against the senator that was telling her it was bullshit and she was lying, she gave a reason for her hands being that way. The problem is the reason she gave is I was trying to de-escalate and not get cited for resisting arrest. Well, if that's true, then why did you immediately after you got your photo op, lift your hand in the air quickly and make a sudden movement? Like that kind of flies in the face with what you say you're doing. And it's like, okay, I mean, if that's the reason you want to go with, but like we've got you on camera doing something that kind of flies in the face with what you're saying. So either you're the worst at doing what you're saying you were doing, or it was performative bullshit. And I mean, because she's a politician and because most of what she does is performative bullshit, I think it's not a far leap to say it was performative bullshit.
Well, and it for something to be de-escalated, doesn't it have to already be escalated?
Yes.
And all I saw was a couple of cops ask a nice rich lady to walk over to that tree over there and then go home. That doesn't seem like a real escalated situation to me.
You know, the other thing about it, after that episode, I was reading an article where she had said that that is how people are trained to de-escalate the situation, is by putting their hands behind their backs. And then the author of the story contacted someone at the ACLU, and they were like, no, we train people to just show your hands. We don't tell you put your hands behind your back. In fact, if we told people to put their hands behind their back, typically that person might be viewed as reaching for something. So we tell you to show your hands. So she just, I mean, it's like she just digging herself a grave, you know. It just, maybe just drop it and admit you did this thing for a photo op and, you know, move on. Instead, she just has to go on Twitter and like argue with people, including some of her constituents, just bickering. And it's like, just admit it, you know.
And I mean, there's non-violent tactics to do what she's trying to do, right? If she's trying to like put herself as this like civil disobedience person, right? But civil disobedience isn't get up and voluntarily put your hands behind your back and then march away with the nice officers who send you home with a glass of lemonade. That's not civil disobedience. Civil disobedience is sitting down on the street, blocking track, and refusing to move. It is not complying. That's where that whole disobedience part comes in. And when the pigs show up and say, well, if you don't move, you're going to be arrested, you tell them fucking do it. And then they have to pick everyone up and drag them away and cuff them all. It becomes a big fucking problem. And then you get the fucking, you know, NCL out there. And that's how that's supposed to work. It's supposed to be an obstacle. It's supposed to be you going, fuck you, no. Even if you're going to lose the day, it doesn't matter. The point is it's supposed to be a fuck you. And when the cops show up and they're like, hey, no, don't do that. And you go, okay. That's not civil disobedience.
Question.
I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna push back a little bit on that.
Do it, hit me.
As someone who's
let's go
both participated in civil disobedience and taken arrest and helped coordinate it. I would say that the purpose of civil disobedience is either to like permanently disable your oppressor in some way, which is very rare. Most of it is just to garner the like media grab that you're going to get from it, you know. And once you've done that, you've kind of fulfilled the mission of civil disobedience. Like civil disobedience isn't just to say fuck you to the cops. It's to say this is an issue and I'm going to stay here impeding this whatever so that the world can see that something is wrong here. You know, once the media is there and the media gets their shots and you get your shots maybe for social media or whatever, then it doesn't really matter after that. You know, if you take a rest or not, the point is that it gets blown up and it gets more eyeballs on it.
Well, that's what a political stunt is, not civil disobedience. And again, and you've obviously, we have different experiences, but I mean, I've also been arrested 4 times. I've done lots of civil disobedience actions. Like, the point is to not comply. And as soon as they come over and they're like, hey, it's time to go, and you go, okay, then that's, you're civilly obeying. That is not disobedience. Disobedience is clogging a freeway. It is blocking an entrance to something. It is chaining yourself to machinery. It is simply sitting down in the road and refusing to get off the private property. Whatever that is, whatever it takes, whatever level your organization wants to take it to. But the point is that you make your statement and you don't back down. And if you do leave, it's on your terms. Like,
so my question. So, all right.
I mean, assuming you're not getting arrested.
Yeah, everybody. I got a question. So, to everybody here, what is your opinion on blocking traffic on streets and on freeways? What's your opinion on that?
Like, are you asking, is it good or bad? Are we for it, against it? Is that kind of thing?
Well, no, not like but what's like your opinion on it? Like, if you were working, like, you know, like I work, and it's like, I'm trying to get to my job and get home. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to fucking sit in traffic for another fucking hour when I got, you know what I mean? I got shit to do. So it's like, if you were in traffic and there was a bunch of people fucking just like on the fucking freeway blocking traffic and it was taking another hour to get home, what's your opinion on that?
So
That's
like,
all I'm trying
I think
to say.
his broader question is, do you think that blocking traffic turns the working class against like leftist movements? Right? Is that what you're getting at, Taj?
That's what okay, yeah. So basically, that's what I feel is like, because it's counterproductive. It's like, yeah, like it makes a statement, and yeah, it brings out the media, and yeah, it does do all that. But at the same time, it makes a lot of people that are working class people that just have to go to work and go home be like, fuck, like I got shit to do, and you're over here fucking, I'm just trying to go home. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get some fucking food in my stomach and fucking chill out the rest of the night. But I got these people fucking just marching in the freeway, which is great. And I love to see protests, but like it's different when it's affecting the working class and not the people that really need to be affected by it. You know, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, you know take that one, Lou.
All right. So, and all I see is guest. What's your name, bro?
Dodge.
Dodge?
Yeah, like
Dodge character.
Yeah, like the Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
Taj. TAJ?
Yeah.
Taj. Okay, great. Taj, thank you very much.
One sec, Chris. You'll speak next.
What I would say is it's useful. It's a useful tactic when it's strategic, right? So the most strategic use of that tactic I've seen is when you want to, because freeways and stuff are built so that people can skip over the bad parts, you know, the things that the city doesn't necessarily want you to see about your town, right? Or your city, right? So blocking a freeway in front of an exit and then directing traffic that would normally bypass this blighted area or this area that needs to be addressed. If you have like, oh, there's an area here where the city hasn't invested in this area in, you know, decades, and they just built this freeway over it just so that everybody can just bypass it. Directing traffic through there is worthwhile, you know, if that's part of if that feeds into your strategy. When people just do it just to stop traffic and inconvenience people, yeah, that's some fuck shit. That's garbage. That's you know, that's not very effective. And I think that it does do more harm than good. But when it's done strategically to route people to something you definitely want them to see, then yeah.
Arguably, I do have to say, so a lot of the places.
Taj, wait, before we get to you, I gotta go to Chris first because he raised his hand, and then Heather. Sorry about that.
All right, so my thought on this one is, I think what Pepper Pig said was valid. Like, I think there are tactics to kettle traffic through areas to make them see things, especially when you're talking about like red line districts and that kind of thing, right? But I disagree, right? I still think it's a valid tactic. I'm not saying it needs to be used all the time, but I mean, again, this is how suffrage was done. This is how MLK shut down freeways and closed bridges. I mean, the March on Selma was him shutting down a bridge, you know? So I don't think I think it actually doesn't cause more harm. And the reason why I would say, because it doesn't stop the bridge for the day. The bridge is only shut down for a very short time. Let me tell you, you start impeding the flow of workers to capital, and watch how quick that gets cleared. You know, freeway shutdowns never happen for long at all. The pigs immediately get on that.
Wasn't there supposed to be a railroad strike like last week? And it
I don't know, something like
it got avoided basically because they didn't want to completely shut down commerce.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds right. You know, that's how it always has been. But shutting down commerce and conveniencing is a valid tactic, especially in a capitalist system. And I would say that although Taj has a good point of like, dude, this is going to turn me against the movement. Like, yes, there'll be some people who are very upset by it, but the people who are upset by it are going to be small numbers, dozens, maybe 100. Whereas you have now caused such a disturbance that it has to now be viewed by a shit ton of people, and a whole bunch of people who did not want to deal with this issue are now being forced to look at this issue. And I don't think you should be shutting down freeways for no reason. But when you're shutting down a freeway to bring attention to literally a fascist government wiping out people, killing people, taking away civil liberties. Like, no, that's legit. Shut down the fucking freeways, because it's easy for me to say, like, well, I want to go home and I'm being inconvenienced. Well, yeah, but what about the guy whose kid just got shot by the cops? You know, what about the people who just lost their right to their own body? You know, the fucking Supreme Court just said we don't have Fourth Amendment rights within 100 miles of the coast. It's like, that's what we're shutting the freeway down for. Like, they are single-handedly burning the Bill of Rights right now. And to me, that's worth making a few people late home from work.
I respect that answer a lot. I really. Sorry, go ahead.
On the floor is yours, man. I'll let you respond, Taj, and then Heather will have to speak after you.
I respect that like answer a lot. Like, that's a really good answer, and that like really made me think. But like at the same time, like, don't you think it would be more worth, like, instead of like blocking people's paychecks? And like when I say that with all due respect, because I'm not saying like, oh, the movement, like that doesn't mean shit. What I mean is like people that have to pay rent, people that have to pay for groceries, people that have to like these are people that really have to get to where they're going. So their bosses might be like, you're on your third strike, we're gonna fire you if you're late. You know, like these are people that are really like going to work to the point where they might get fired that day. So I mean, like, don't you think it would be more productive to go to the place where these laws are being passed and actually fucking like protest there and block traffic there? You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
Like, I don't know, just my personal opinion. I know not everyone can just afford a plane ticket and go fucking fly and do all that shit, but like, I feel like it needs to be more targeted. You know what I mean? Like, to the point where it's like, we're going there, like to a Capitol building or to a building where it's like laws are passed. You know what I mean? Not a freeway. Like, I get it. I get what you're saying, and I understand that, but like, I think it should go more towards government officials rather than our people.
So I think that what you just said actually raised a really good point, which is that you have to like look at why people get pissed off when they're stuck in traffic and a mob of people come on the freeway, right? Like, they're pissed off because they're sitting in an hour and a half, 2-hour commute, right? Because their city wasn't planned properly, or they're getting to their second job because they have to work 2 or 3 jobs to pay the rent or whatever, right? And so I think to be like really effective, first of all, I actually disagree that you shouldn't go to like your senator and protest all the time, because the people that are going to make the change are like the working class people, right? Or like the public. And so
I got a phone call.
Okay, so I think that for first of all is that you are going to have times where you need to wake people up, right? And because they're so fucking, I apologize, my dog.
No,
here, so you have to have sorry, let me I lost my train of thought. So you have all these people that are on the freeway, right? And they're going to their second job or their third job, is what I was saying when you got your phone, whatever. Or they're stuck in traffic for an hour and a half to 2 hours. So first of all, a lot of them are like so busy in their daily life that they don't even know like what the fuck you are protesting about. Like I'm thinking about people that I've spoken to in the last couple months. Some of them are not even really fully aware of what is going on with the Supreme Court. And so if people are not like exposed to some level of education in the community, they're not going to know what's going on, and they're not going to know what like they need to do like for their part to address it, right? But the other thing I think is, if you're going to be blocking traffic, you have to do it like effectively, right? Like, you can't just have a bunch of random teenagers, walk on the freeway and block traffic. Like, you have to have a coordinated effort. Like, you have to have signs, right? They have to like know what you're blocking traffic for. And so I feel like in that sense, it could be effective, because you have people like, if I'm working 2 or 3 jobs just to pay the bills and I get stuck in traffic, I'm going to be pissed. But if I get stuck in traffic because there's a protest going by and they've got all these signs about wages or healthcare or whatever, that like, then I understand, right? And so I feel like there's a time that it's appropriate and a way that it's appropriate, and then there are other times that it's probably not, and I think you raised a good point that, like, somebody could get fired, right?
Yeah, because so I was involved in the protest for the BLM at Oxnard, and we went all the way up Oxnard Boulevard, stopped at Woolley, and then we blocked traffic all through Woolley and Oxnard Boulevard, and there was just a line of cars all the way down Woolley and Oxnard Boulevard. And I thought that shit was cool, I was like, fuck yeah, like, we got everybody paying attention. And then I seen people get out of their car and like literally come up to everybody and be like, I gotta get fucking home. Like, I got shit to do. I got a wife. I got a kid I gotta fucking feed. What the fuck? And I was like, fuck. Like, and then I felt bad. I was like, damn, like we're literally just blocking these people from getting home to their children and getting them fed and like, so I get what you're saying, but I also think about it from the other perspective that it's semi counterproductive. Like, we should be going to places where these laws are actually implemented. You know what I mean? And that's just my, like, I get it. I get like the shutdown and everybody comes and sees it and news covers it, and I guess that's like sacrifices that might need to be made. But like, at the same time, it's like, these are people that have like children at home that might not have somebody watching their kid, and like, I don't know, man. It just kind of hit me different when I saw that, and I was like, damn, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
what did you have
like
to say back to that, Lou?
From like the left, like, or anything. It's not making me like, oh, like, nah, like fucking Fox News. I'm gonna start following Fox News. You know what I mean? It's just, I'm just saying, like, it just made me think different about the situations that we were putting other people in.
Yeah, I mean, we have to always take into consideration political normies, I think. Yeah, what do you have to say about that, Lou?
I was going to say that most protest is it has a bad connotation, but most of it is political theater, right? It's earned media. You have 2 types of media: paid media, earned media. This is earned media events that you create. What I really can't stand about the blocking traffic thing is if it's done strategically in a good way, it can be effective to earn that media. But it is probably one of the shittiest educational forms of protest out there. All right, nobody past car like 6 knows what the fuck is going on up there. Everybody sitting behind that car is like, what the fuck? I hope somebody's dead. Somebody better be fucking dead. I better see blood in the street when I get up here. If it's just somebody, looking at a raccoon on the side of the road and trying to take their Snapchat pictures, I'm gonna be fucking pissed. So then you get up there, and if it's like Chris was saying, if it's people blocking it for this reason, and they've got their signs and everything, the cops are going to clear those people out really quickly. So by the time that person 6 cars down gets up to the front, ain't nobody there. There ain't no sign. All you know is, oh, some bullshit went down. You might see on the news later on that night, oh, I was in that traffic, but by then you're, what's going on, what I think is going on in the minds of people who are 10 cars, 20 cars, 50 cars, 100 cars down the road is, fuck, whatever's causing this, I'm against it. Whatever it is.
Yep.
I fucking hate these people.
I agree with that. Yeah, that's facts. Yeah. And it's not that they're like, oh, like, fuck BLM. It's just like, they're like, I gotta get home. I gotta get fucking my kid fed. Like, so I don't know, man. It's just my opinion about all that is it is a little bit counterproductive when there needs to be more people going to these places where, like the government center, and like really just going in front of the government center, not in the fucking streets, in the fucking government center, like going to the government center, like, and actually fucking right in front of the government center. And that shit's more effective, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it was
That's just my opinion.
Chris, I think it was you, and then was it Chris, Matt, and then Desmond, I think? No, Chris, Desmond, then Matt.
Okay, so like my thought on this one, right, is again, I think you guys make valid points. Like that's the thing, is like even though like I technically disagree with you, I don't think anything you're saying is untrue or not valid as shit, right? Because I do agree that I think everything you said is right. That it's going to piss people off. It's going to harm the working class. And I think Prepper's got a good point there too. Is like, yeah, like I am for this, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not for it for everything. I think we need things like freeway blockades because they are performative. They're there to bring attention to an issue. And I think it needs to be kind of an oh shit maneuver. I don't think it needs to be every single time like, well, you know, the mayor had a tax code that I didn't really disagree with, so we're shutting down the hospital. Like, no, like I don't think it needs to be like that, like egregious acts. But again, I think something like Roe v. Wade being undone is an egregious act. We've decided 52% of the population of the United States aren't human. They have the rights of a farm animal. Actually, less rights than a farm animal, because you can abort a cow if it's going to kill the dairy cow.
Yeah.
We say that raped 10-year-old girls have to carry the abortion of their rapists. And that if a doctor actually gives a shit about her, we're going to put him in fucking jail. And I'm sorry, that's worth shutting a freeway down for. Because that's becoming national policy. And so for me, it's like, it depends on what it is. Not for everything, but for some. And again, also for limited amounts of time. Shut a freeway down. Shut a freeway down for 20 minutes. Do not shut a freeway down for 6 hours. You know, because you are actually fucking with people's kids at that point. And I would also, the other thing I wanted to say was that, like, and I agree again, you have a really good point, Taj, of like, you know, yeah, go to the city centers. And it's like, well, first of all, that's where the cops protect. Like, you can't fuck with City Hall and not get a fucking eye blown out by a beanbag shotgun, number one. But number two, even when you do, look at the George Floyd protest. Like, you know, when they fucking set the police, you know, building on fire and it was shut down for a while. And in Seattle, when they closed off the police area, it's like, what about the janitor who had a job there? You know, what about the parking attendant guy? Like, there's a whole lot of people, no matter what you do.
Oh,
we can say little stuff like that. Or we can talk about the fucking Cuban Revolution, you know, like whatever you want to do. And no matter what it is, it doesn't matter. Any time you have an upheaval to eliminate oppression, there is going to be collateral damage. There's going to be people who are hurt, and there's no way to avoid that ever. You cannot have a revolution without harm. Now, obviously, we need to temper it. I don't think you're saying that that's not okay. Like, I'm not trying to miscategorize. I'm just trying to say that, like, sometimes if I have to inconvenience 200 people for half an hour to get thousands of people in my city to start paying the fuck attention that we've decided half our population is subhuman, that's worth it.
But don't you think
I think you got to weigh it.
Yeah, but don't you think that the media is going to spin that worse than they would spin a couple of people that work for City Hall getting inconvenienced? Like, I feel like
bro, we had the media spin the Iraq war to let us kill 2 million Iraqis.
What matters at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is what matters at the end of the day. Look, dude, like 70% of America is stupid. Like, let's just be real. Like, we live in California, right? Most of us have experienced shit with, like, we're more progressive. We understand. We get it. Like, we're all, like, fucking cool with each other and shit. And I mean, that's just my experience, at least. Like, I've fucking been around all types of different ethnicities, women, everything, women's rights. You know what I mean? But like,
California has the second largest Klan population in the country.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about where I live, but like, I'm just saying in general, not just California, but like the different cities in it. And I'm just saying, like, they'll spin shit to 60% of the population that's in middle America that is extremely divided. Like we're talking like fucking blacks over here, whites over here. And that's literally how the rest of like America really is. It's like completely divided. You know what I mean? So they'll spin this shit to those people, and those people be like, yeah, like fuck the left because of this and this and that. And they're shutting down the freeways and blah, 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 blah. Do you see what I'm saying?
But quick question, real quick rebuttal on that one. So a show that is going to take that footage that night and spin it, what do you think they're going to do if that didn't happen? You don't think they're going to spend the exact same amount of time and energy trying to dismiss the left? No, they're going to talk about fucking Dr. Seuss if there's no freeway shutdown. And they're going to say that Joe Biden is here to take away cops and bring us all into some kind of anarchy. And that the left wants to make trans kids babysit. Whatever. Like, I don't fucking know. I don't even know the bullshit they come up with. But it's like, no matter what, the Fox News is going to come up with a fabricated propaganda piece regardless of what happens in the world tomorrow. We got Joe Biden, who's basically a Republican, right? This guy is a Republican. He loves war. He hates women. He hates queer people. He hates people of color. Like, he loves fucking taxes, hates bankruptcy court. Like, Joe Biden is a Republican, and they still spend the entire day trashing him. It's going to happen no matter what. So let's make it something worth talking about.
Desmond, let's go to you.
Yeah, I'll try to make this a little quicker. I think for me, just blocking traffic just doesn't feel like something that I would want to participate in ever, even strategically, honestly. It's just, I think about what the end goal is, because obviously, like, I agree with the justification for it, the reasoning behind it, that all makes sense to me. Like, you're trying to bring awareness to an issue that you feel people are sleeping on. That's a noble cause, no matter how you paint it. But the question for me always comes to, like, how's it being received? Because for everyone who's already energized by this issue, you don't have to convince them to vote a certain way or not buy from company X or to invest into this or divest from this. Like, whatever the case is, they're already in it. So you're trying to convince people who aren't currently aware to become aware and to get energized. And the question is this tactic really having that effect on these people? And I don't know that it is. I mean, just frankly speaking, because, you know, Taj, you bring up a decent point here, where it's like most of the country is politically apathetic, or they're disengaged, or they're very casual viewers. Like, they're in and out during election cycles, and that's about it. Then they're back to just doing other things that aren't politics related. Like, we're the weirdos in the community who actually pay attention to politics all the time. So how are we going to get those normal people to actually get engaged in these moments? We need them to get engaged, because we can't do it without them, unfortunately, because they are the majority, the super majority. I don't know that this actually works. I mean, in theory, like, yeah, you want to bring awareness, but is this the right tactic? I don't think so. I think it just creates more animosity towards things that they already don't really understand that well, or or they're not that engaged in. And so, like, yeah, wake people up, but maybe this isn't the right way. I mean, because especially like you're talking about, Taj, if you're preventing people from getting to where they need to go, or people are all kinds of fucked over because of capitalism, you know, like you're running from place to place, like you have like 2-hour commute, you got to go take care of your kids, you're strapped for money, this, that, and the third, you hate traveling anyway. Like, this is the last thing you want to deal with. And like, yeah, we want to get people's attention, but like, maybe let's find a better way. That's kind of just where I stand on it. Like, I'm for the idea, just different. Let's just get there a different way.
Yeah, what did you have to say, Matt?
So Chris, my bestie and longtime son of a bitch who always steals my shit, said most of what I was going to say already. But one thing I did want to add on to it, I think part of the problem with this particular form of protest comes in how easy it is to shift the narrative, because it's not just like twisting the event. What you start seeing, even on non-right-wing places that are a little more centrist like CNN, is you start getting the stories about the ambulance that couldn't get through. You start getting stories about Joe the plumber who fucking got fired from his job because he couldn't. I think I am 100% with pretty much everything Chris said. But to speak to what you guys are saying, I think the reason why people are driven to feel that way is because it's not Fox News calling, lefties, problematic and spinning it to their crowd that's the problem. It's the more centrist and mainstream news stories telling you all the problems that resulted in this particular form of protest instead of what actually was what they were protesting against. And it just draws up all these like things that make you feel bad, because nobody, left, right, center, wants to stop somebody in an ambulance from going to a hospital. Nobody, left, right, or center, wants to be the cause of, another working class dude losing their job. Like, I don't personally give a shit if you have to wait in traffic for 6 hours, like Chris said, because we're trying to protest against women losing their rights. You know what? That doesn't bother me. What does bother me is people being harmed because of this, people that shouldn't be harmed. And I think that bothers most people. And I think with this particular form of protest, I think, excluding things like, when it becomes violent and you're burning stuff down, out of all the other non-violent forms of protest, this one is easiest to pick out those things and make them the headline as opposed to what people are talking about.
So I'll jump back in. I think it's my turn, right?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if anybody else was going next after you. If not, yeah, go ahead, Lou.
I see Chris's hand up. So great points.
Yeah, Chris, you were
first. Lou was first. Lou's been waiting. Go ahead. I'm after Lou.
I wanted to bring up a couple instances where I've personally seen stopping traffic as an effective tool. The first was this rad ass group of badass women called the Raging Grannies. I don't know if y'all have them out there, but no, they are a bunch of matronly ladies who will take out they'll have a line of rocking chairs, and they'll be sitting there knitting and blocking coal delivery trucks from reaching the plant. Like that kind of thing. Yes, pretty effective, gets a lot of attention. Isn't, the workers don't give a shit. They get paid, they're sitting in their truck. They get paid either way. They don't get paid by the load. So there's that. There was also, I worked on Fight for 15. If you're not familiar, Fight for 15 is this long time, so long that it's now ineffective. But the Fight for 15, years and years ago, was about getting the minimum wage raised to $15 an hour. And we were going around the state helping to organize and unionize fast food workers here. And we found one spot that, should be Fight for 23 now, you're right. There was one spot that threatened one of the workers who walked off previously with termination. So we had told them beforehand, hey, if your people can walk off the job, if they do, don't retaliate or we'll be back. Well, somebody wanted to fuck around and find out. So this was at a Taco Bell, and we went and shut down their driveway. So there were no cars. If you really needed some Taco Bell and just wanted some of that grade D meat, then you were heavily inconvenienced that day. But otherwise, this young lady got reinstated within, I think, an hour or something of us, blocking all the traffic to this place, because this place was making no money, and it was all because they were holding out against this one young lady. So there are some ways that it can be done, I think, strategically, but it's not a tool for mass education. This isn't where you're going to be teaching people about this issue or about the thing that this isn't where you're doing it for this mass, the thousands of people who are backed up to come see you and pass by you. That, I think, is a little wrong-headed.
Go ahead, Chris.
I just wanted to say that, again, not completely disagreeing with AI on that one, but beyond just calling attention to it, which I think is one of the primary goals, but the other goal is also to send a signal that people are getting mad and shit's gonna start breaking down. Because a protest, especially if it's in the streets and you go home once the cops say it's an unlawful assembly and you wear your little hats and you have your little signs, government doesn't give a shit about that. Government doesn't give a fuck about people walking through the streets carrying signs. Government gives a shit about broken windows. Government gives a shit about burning police stations. Government gives a shit about freeways getting shut down. Government gives a shit about society falling apart because we're fucking mad and we're not going to play by the rules. And I think this also is a signal that shit is we're getting to shit getting real, and I want more of it. You know, I don't think Brett Kavanaugh should have been scared out of his steak dinner. I think any place that lets Brett Kavanaugh come in the door should have bricks through its window. And maybe places will stop letting Brett Kavanaugh have dinner there. And then maybe Brett Kavanaugh can understand what it's like to be a second-class citizen in this country. So I think we need more energy for that. And again, I agree. And I think it's a double-edged sword, and it's something not to be done lightly. I think you are right. It can cause harm. And I know Taj probably wasn't trying to go on a long tirade with this one, but I think at the end of the day, the message needs to be sent that shit's about to get real. And if freeway shutdowns don't work, cool. Let's start barricading police stations. Let's start burning down government buildings. Let's start some shit. Because until we do, nothing's going to change. Because we've been playing nice for a real long time. And it's been since the civil rights movement when anybody wasn't playing nice anymore. And nothing's been accomplished since then.
Fucking A. Let's go, Desmond. You're on mute, brother.
I didn't click that mute. Okay. Apologies. I'm not sure what the best avenue would be in order to execute what I'm about to offer, but I think boycotting capital in some form or fashion is honestly, I think, the gold standard. I mean, it'd be the best way to get anything done. If you were to find a way to strategically organize a boycott of something along the lines of getting hundreds of thousands or millions of people to cancel Amazon Prime, and you were able to say definitively that you were doing this because of X reason, that reason would be resolved very quickly because Jeff Bezos has more power than all of us combined. So I'm not sure exactly how something like that would be put together, but a protest in that form, I feel like, would be the most effective because the people who truly have the most power in this country are the billionaire class, and affecting their bottom line in some way, shape, or form, that'd probably be the best way to get the most tangible change quickly.
So, and I totally agree with you. And I was thinking about when Roe was first overturned on TikTok, a huge group of people started trying to organize a, general strike, right? But it wasn't really organized. Like, there was no mutual aid. There was no money set up. There was no, like, how are people going to, they just wanted, the following Monday for everybody to just not go to work for 3 days. And it had a total disconnect from like what people can actually like do. Like, you can't just not, a lot of people, the majority of people, probably 99% of people cannot just not go to work for 3 days or for, I think it was a week actually, because it was the Mother's Day strike. It was like starting on Mother's Day, you start by not cooking for your family and you don't clean. And then on Monday, you don't go to work and you don't do anything for your kids and then don't go to work for a whole week. It's a great idea because if you halt the economy, people are going to start making changes and paying attention, right? But there was no like support structure for it at all. And so it never really happened because nobody could do it, right? And so I think like there needs to be like a conversation about how can you start organizing that? Like, you really need to get a lot of people organizing mutual aid, putting together, funds so that people can just not work for a given period of time, literally halt the economy by doing that. But it requires a huge effort and a huge and you have to have people that are not so like soaked in their own privilege that they understand everything that's going to go into coordinating that. And I feel like there are not a lot of people that are ready. I'm reading all of your comments. Not a lot of people that are ready or able or even aware enough. Like, I feel like there's just so much, especially in the Democratic Party.
Yeah, class consciousness.
In the Democratic Party, there is so much fucking privilege. And we've talked about the brunches, like the garden parties and the brunches. And it's like, they're so soaked. There's no empathy and they're so soaked in privilege that you have nobody that is ready to do that. And so I feel like we need to find people that are ready to organize, that are ready to start putting together paths of mutual aid, so that you can have a huge block of the economy shut down. And then that'll happen. So I totally agree that that's going to be how it happens, is with the money. But it's not going to be like, oh, boycott, buying at Amazon. Maybe it's going to be boycotting at Amazon, but still, you got to get a huge chunk of the economy broken down.
So Matt and then Lou.
I'm going to mute.
Matt, you're on mute.
I agree with both of you. Sorry about that. I'm going to get a little soapboxy here with this one, because I think the problem with boycotting something like Amazon is everyone still wants their shit. So even if you can get everyone to en masse boycott Amazon, what are they going to do? They're just going to go to some other person that's just like Amazon. And so what we're ending up doing is shifting everything, all the power and money that Amazon controls, to another company, and you're not going to fix anything. Not to mention, my biggest issue, and I know you guys are going to be aware of this, is to kind of piggyback off of your lack of understanding comment. Most people in this country don't understand basic economics. And a good example of this and trying to protest with your wallet is every fucking year when everyone's like, don't buy gas for a fucking day, and we'll really stick it to the fucking oil companies. Ever since I've been fucking 18 and in high school, they've been pulling that same bullshit every single fucking year. Here's economics 101. You're gonna buy the gas anyway. Sorry if you guys was too loud for you, but like either the day before or the day after, they're getting their fucking money. These companies aren't working on a daily fucking budget. They're not working on a monthly fucking budget. These people have money stocked up for fucking years in advance. Everybody in this country would have to stop buying oil for 5 fucking years in order for this to have any effect whatsoever. But this is what we get. This is the kind of wallet protest that we get. And the worst part is when you try to point this out to people, the response that I get every time is, well, at least we're trying something. No, you're not. What you're doing is doing nothing. You're doing something that is easy for you to do, that makes you feel good and has zero results or impact. And I think while hitting people where their money is a good option, the way it's constantly tried to do is like this, and it ends up with no effect. And it's this year-long, every year it's the same old circle jerk, and everyone doesn't buy gas on a Sunday and they feel like they've really hit Arco in the nuts. And we've got to get smarter than this. The best alternative I've heard is everyone's switching brands, but the only thing you're going to do then is maybe force them to start competing with prices. You're not really going to hurt them. So I don't know what the solution is. I'm sorry, I don't have one. I'm just ranting about what people are giving right now. But there's got to be a better way, something, that will actually work. I think what you suggested, Heather, is pretty on point. But this fake bullshit with, let's just not buy from one company, or let's all, not buy from Amazon. I mean, great, but in order for that to have any effect, you're gonna have to stop buying all your shit from a company like this. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Lou, then Chris.
Matt, my brother, thank you so much for that example of the one-day boycott. Fucking drives me crazy. Every year when I hear that bullshit, I'm just like, oh my God, this is so ineffective. Fuck. All right, so boycott, in my opinion, is it's one of those holdover tactics. I think that a lot of people grow up hearing about the Selma bus boycott. Was that Selma? Somebody hit me if I'm wrong. But they grow up
Montgomery,
hearing MLK and the bus boycott and everything. What they didn't learn was all the organizing that had to go into that, all the ride shares that were created to get people to and from where they needed to be. All the alternative transportation that came out of that, just so that people could get to work and back, or to school and back. So anything you do, Montgomery, thank you. Anything you do is going to take heavy organizing. Boycotting, like Matt said, it's the money flows. Oh shit! Can y'all hear me? Because everything froze on my screen.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. The money flows. The money's always going to flow. Okay, so you might create bottlenecks, you might create pent-up demand for a product, whatever. I think the solution, and we can discuss, I would love to hear thoughts, but I think the solution lies not with consumers, but with workers. Organizing workers so that workers can make more demands, and workers can do slowdowns and wildcat strikes and negotiate more firmly with these corporations. If you want environmental policy change, you want LGBTQ rights, you want income inequality addressed, all those things run through labor. It's all labor organizing. And we have been, the where we are today is a direct result of Reagan's attacks on labor unions that kind of set the stage for all this. So rebuilding labor, and seizing the means. I think that's the way to go. One opinion, though.
I agree with you, and I agree with Heather about labor, and that's exactly where the money comes from. So nothing will ever change, and this is just real shit. Nothing will ever change until we stop the flow of labor, because labor is the only thing, the only leverage that they really have, the government has on us. And the closest we've seen to change was during the pandemic. So if you noticed, when we all shut down, we all got, $1,200 stimulus checks, right? So think about how scared they were when they saw the economy completely collapse. That was because nobody was working. Well, a high majority of people weren't working. So literally the only way we're going to ever make a change and they're going to meet our demands is when we stop working. I don't know how that's going to happen. I can't say, I don't know, but that's literally the only way they will ever meet our demands and say, all right, we'll do what you want, because then we'll have leverage over them.
Well, yeah, that's kind of actually what I was going to say, was that, like, we keep dancing around the issue that the reason these tactics don't work is because of capital. Like, there's like kind of like perplexed, like, it's a holdover tactic that we heard about Montgomery and we never heard about the organizing. Why do you think that is? You think that was by accident? No, God, no. The reason why American history is taught that one day a nice man named Martin Luther King came down, had a drink, gave a speech, and everything was great from then on, and everyone went home and everything was fine, and racism was over. Like, there's a reason you're taught that. It's because you're supposed to fucking believe that. It's propaganda. It's a whitewashing of protest history. And
can I just be honest? Can I just say something?
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt anyone. So, like, I know it's like right now, like, it's not that deep. Now, what you're saying is like true in the sense of, like, as far as racism goes in that topic, but I'm talking about the economy and what's going to make our government surrender to us. Isn't going to be.
That's what I'm saying, is it needs something beyond that. Is the idea of boycotting, like, okay, boycotting Amazon. Boycotting Amazon won't work for two reasons. Number one, Amazon has worked its way into the massive necessary infrastructure. There's literally people who get their life necessities from Amazon. I know most of us are getting fucking whoopee cushions and bullshit, but there's a lot of people who actually get the things they need to survive sometimes and make it through their weeks on Amazon. Amazon has made themselves
going to be a healthcare company.
Yeah. But they've made themselves the cheapest, easiest option for working class people. And beyond that, even if we tanked the company, this is what capitalists do. This isn't the 30s anymore. This isn't a robber baron who runs one industry. People like Amazon are just like people like Bill Gates. These guys have diversified their wealth so much that there is not one thing you could take away from them to not make them oligarchs. You know, Bill Gates has bought up water rights for half the planet. Microsoft could fucking disappear in the rapture tomorrow, and Bill Gates would be one of the most powerful human beings on the face of the earth.
That's not going to change. That's never going to change, bro.
Well,
like
that's what they said in France, and then they built guillotines.
That ain't going to change.
Okay,
I hate to be a dick. I hate to be, but like,
you're not being a dick. What
change.
you're doing is it's a reactionary logic that what I have experienced cannot be moved. Okay, they said slavery couldn't be changed. It can't be,
bro. It can't be.
Because we can't get rid of slavery, right? If we got rid of slavery, then what would the plantation class do? How would we get our cotton, our crops? The government, the economy would collapse.
But here's the thing.
But then we
did. A lot of people that work for Amazon wouldn't consider what they're doing as slavery. They would look at that as that's a good job.
No. Again, I'm talking about antebellum slavery.
No, I'm not saying it's a good job. It ain't a good job. I'm just saying most people that work for Amazon would be like, yeah, I get health benefits. I get this. I get that. Like, what the fuck?
You're missing my argument. I'm not talking about Amazon workers. I'm saying that argument that you're making.
But that's where it comes from. If everybody stops showing up for work at Amazon.
Hear me out for 30 seconds.
All right. Yeah, I'm sorry, bro.
The argument that the system cannot change because it is too wealthy and embedded is one that every generation has used since the dawn of time. Again, it was literally told that the nation would collapse if we abolished slavery. Okay, it was told the nation would collapse if we allowed interracial marriage. The nation would collapse if we allowed gay marriage. The nation would, every single time there's an end to an oppressive system, we can't do it because the nation will collapse. It was literally propagated throughout the entire nation that the country would fall apart if child labor ended. If we stopped letting 6-year-olds climb through steam-powered machines to fix them, that industry across America would shut down and everyone would starve to death. But we fucking saw through the bullshit and did it anyway. And that was done by workers organizing, fighting cops, and stopping the bullshit and refusing to do it. And it takes organizing and it takes mutual aid. It takes people coming together in a community fashion to feed each other, to house each other, to help each other, and to watch each other's backs during actions. And mutual aid, first aid, I mean, everything. I mean, every time you have a protest that shit might get real, you have people with umbrellas, you have some people who bring water, and some people are EMTs in the back. That is what communal action is, and it's going to take, it's not going to happen tomorrow. You're right. The systems we're talking about ending, the systems of capital, are deeply embedded in this nation. It's not going to happen tomorrow, and it's not going to fucking happen easy. It's not going to happen without pain. But eventually, Rome will fall, and the systems of capital in this country will have to go. The question is when, and we have to organize for it and prepare for it. But the only answer is to abolish capital. That is the only way this changes, because everything we're talking about here is tied to capital. Everything.
I hear you.
Yeah, 100%. Go ahead, Heather.
So Taj, I think that sorry, I'm getting feedback. Is it am I echoing?
I don't hear an echo.
Oh, okay. Well,
hit mute. That'll help.
Okay. So I think to your point, Taj, there are a lot of people that work at like Amazon or Burger King or, name any service industry job. A lot of people, they're busy, they don't pay attention, and they don't like have a concept of like, they've never left. Like, think about all the people that live here in Ventura County that have never left Ventura County. Like, for them, there is like no world out. That's like their world view. And so they have like no firsthand experience with like a culture that has socialized medicine. Right. They have no concept of what it means to like be taken care of. Yeah. And so all they have is like what they see on Fox News or CNN. And even on CNN, anytime a social program comes up, it's all about like, who's going to pay for that? Where are we going to get the money for that? And so, and like, that's how they think. So I think that like what's going to have to happen is that you're going to have to start just providing people mutual aid, even if they're not like in a position where they need it or they ask for it, so that they understand that that's like, there's another option, like UBI, right? You have to like just start giving it to people so that they understand, wow, look at how much my life has improved. And wow, the government can do this, or a group of people can do something like mutual aid and do this. And I was thinking about, like a personal situation recently where this happened, where I have a friend whose food insecure, right? And she lives in Oxnard. There's food share all over the place. She doesn't drive. I said, well, why don't I pick up a food share box for you from the church down the street from my house? They do like a drive-through thing every week. I'll pick it up. I'll drop it off. She said, great. Well, one day my dad, who's like a CNN watching, like all of it, it's always like, oh, well, you want to feed everybody? How are you going to pay for that? He went and picked up the box for me, and he saw all these people and all this food. And he was like, well, if there's so much food available, why are there so many people still starving? Yeah. And it's like, all of a sudden, yeah. And all of a sudden it like clicked. All of a sudden it like
all the time.
Everything on CNN.
So close right there.
Yeah, everything on CNN, everything on Fox, though, that he like hears about, like, oh, we can't have this social program because there's no money for it or whatever. All of a sudden he's like, wait a minute. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, you have a what is the catch here? Like, he was looking for a catch.
There's plenty of money for that. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was so much food. And he's just like, well, why are there all these hungry people if this is available? Or like, why are we not just giving this to people? Like, why don't people just come and get this?
Based
food, just come and get it. And it's like all of a sudden it clicked, and he woke up. And so I feel like for a lot of people, you're going to have to just provide them something so that they understand.
It reminds me of the accidentally left-wing page when like a right-winger like tries to talk shit about the left and then ends up making an anti-capitalist position.
Yeah. Or like,
I gotta do that. Why don't you just give out free insulin? Yes.
Yeah, actually, yeah. And I think that they got very close to that happening with the stimulus checks. All of a sudden you had people that like, all of a sudden they got this extra money and they were like, well, wait a minute.
Yes.
You can just give me this money? Well,
because they were scared.
It dried up so quick.
Our government was scared.
Yeah. And so,
oh, we fucked up.
I think that's what you're going to need. You're going to need to wake a lot of people up, first of all. And then you also, in order to make that happen, are going to have so many people organizing. Because it does require, like that food share example, it requires a lot of people donating. A lot of places have to donate to provide all of that. And that's what we're going to need for, an entire block of the economy to shut down. There's so much work that would have to go in for that. So you would need a lot of support.
Yeah. I think the stimulus check was like a prime example that like our government got scared and they were like, oh shit. And see, that's what happens. Like the economy was crashing because nobody was working. Nobody was spending money. And that's pretty much what it's going to take, you know? And I'm not saying that, not like rooting for Jeffrey Bezos or Elon Musk or anything. I'm just saying that like, it's not going to fall because even during the pandemic, Amazon and fucking all them, their fucking profits went up. So it's just, it's like, yeah, you know, it just doesn't seem like something that can really happen unless everybody goes on strike and everybody really just says, fuck this. I'm leaving. I'm walking out of this fucking job. You know, and that's where it starts. It's the ground level. Like I understand everybody's like perspective on it, but I'm just saying like from the ground level is really where the changes happen. You know what I mean? And it just, to me, it seems like most of the people that work in those places, and I know a lot of people that work in places like that, and it's like to them that's like the best it could get. Even if you tell them different, it's like, nah, what the fuck, you're tripping. I'm making $25 an hour. I'm fucking good. I got health benefits. They're not gonna like go against the company that's paying them that much.
Hey, I'd love to see you later. I'd love to chime in here.
What's up, Paradigm?
Yo, what's poppin'? Ladies and gentlemen, if you do not know who I am, I'm the most eclectic and electric man on Twitch today. You can find me at twitch.tv/the_paradigm_shift. Please let Twitch know to give me like my username. I hate the underscores. We talk poetry, we talk politics, we talk art, we talk bullshit. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm currently in the off season between season 2 and season 3. If you don't know what these are and you want to find out more of the law, go check out some of the links in the description down below. If they ever get added, I don't know if he's recording this. I don't know what's happening. You can't see me?
Nah.
Bro, I'm right here. I'm in this corner. I see myself.
We can't see you.
Are they being serious? Are they messing with me?
No, it's a black screen, dude.
It's a black screen.
It's a black screen.
Chat, can you see me? Yeah, they see me. What the fuck? Okay, wait, maybe it's this itself. Okay, hold on. So you just heard everything I said and nothing else?
We can hear you.
Yeah, I heard it. It's all good.
Also, Ben,
How about now?
Are you still there, Ben?
There you go.
There you go.
Got you now.
There you go.
There he is.
That's crazy. It nothing changed for me. It was just literally the same thing. I don't know. Whatever.
Contra Punk.
We're doing it live. I wanted to talk about. So Desmond had let me know. Independent Thought had let me know that you wanted just people to come on and talk about news and stuff that mattered to them, kind of keep a free-flowing conversation. You got a nice little segment of my time. I can't stay here forever, obviously, but I'd love to join in. Sorry I had to introduce myself like that. It's just important that you do it the right way. You never do it the rude and superficial way. This is me, normally. So during the pandemic, those companies made record profits, and ironically it was the government money that they received that they pretty much used for these things. We can all agree to that because that's like obvious. So if that's, you can't, you're right, you can't go against the company that's paying you the bread, but like, isn't that just a testament to how all money just seems to go like, did he dip?
No, I'm right here. No, I got a phone
okay.
call,
All good.
you're good. Yeah, you're good.
I was like, because I wasn't looking at the screen. I don't look at the screen when I talk. So yeah, they didn't. But like, that's a statement to more of how the government could fuel corporations. And like the fact that we don't feel like we have the power to go against the corporation. Yeah, I mentioned like unless on the ground level people all do a strike. It's like on the ground level everyone had to strike for like at least like 5 days. Like it took 5 days. It took. I'm gonna be honest with you. It really took 72 hours. It's 73 hours actually to be more exact. But it took 72 hours for literally all notions of the economy to fall apart. Like for me, it's like economists live this lifestyle where they're always fighting a losing battle. Like, how is that a thing you study in college? You're always losing. Like you never win at this. But what I'm trying to say here is like that's kind of the reach of if you create a business that is involving everybody and hiring everybody, you set rules that other businesses can't set. So if you treat your workers a certain way, it's not that they don't want to go against you. It's that they don't have the means to because they've raised their standard of living so high. Oh, no job's paying $25 an hour. Got to go work for Amazon. Yeah, exactly. And the cost of living is still higher than that. So, of course, I'm not going to go against that company. They got everybody. Yep. So we're already in a problematic situation. So I lead all this to go back to just the realm of what I was hearing when I came in here. The idea of a UBI not being discussed at this moment is almost insulting because the money keeps going to the people that we, the consumers, I know somebody in here, anti-capitalist, at least like in some weird tiny little Democrat, social Democrat form or whatever, like capitalism sucks.
Yeah, Heather initially brought up UBI, but yeah, I think, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think pretty much all of us here have some pretty negative feelings towards capitalism, to say the least.
Yeah.
And like it's a forced, very confusing argument because what we I guess assume is people power is also destroyed by the other connections that we make. Like I play, not me personally, but like I'm just giving I play Halo and drink White Claws. There's a group of people who do that. Maybe their ideas politically are the only, like, you know, I debated a fucking I debated live on the stream one of the Capitol insurrectionists, and they were like, yo, I gotta go play Rocket League. And it's like, we don't view the world as connected as such. How do you expect the ground movement to start when we're all just trying to scrape by to survive? If there were people that weren't trying to survive that were leading this fight, this would be a lot easier to fund.
Yeah.
Because as I've said and as I've stated, and I love how I'm gonna make this connection because I know people be like, "What the fuck is he talking about?" The money that we get, that we don't work for, that we live off the government's teeth, that's making us weak, go right to the corporations that they use with the tax breaks, and the circle go like that. Ironically, that's like a statement saying, "Wow, trickle down economics does work." Yes, when you let the shit trickle down.
Yeah.
But that's socialism. But it works because you just said it yourself. They made record profits. Okay, and we all could pay rent. Let's just do that then. Okay, I don't care anymore.
Or we could just cancel rent. Like,
Yeah.
Like, yeah, all right, no, look,
Yeah.
hey, like, yo, okay, wait, no, good point. If
obsolete
we
concept.
pay people enough that they can afford their rent, why don't we just subsidize the fucking rent? We're still giving them the same money. It's just going straight there. Oh, but that's not teaching them financial or fiscal responsibility. Who cares? They can at least think about like financial responsibility in a home. I just want 4 walls and some electricity. You can need a microwave, bro. Everything microwavable. Like, come on.
what I don't understand is like our entire economy, literally like our entire economy is based on people spending money. But our government is fucking terrified of people having an ounce of expendable income.
Because it would keep people from working.
Who cares if all the money is going back into the economy anyways?
No, I meant that like sarcastically. Like I didn't mean that like real like.
But no, that's the answer
But
that they
even
say,
their
and it's like,
economic argument doesn't make sense.
that's crazy because it's like I just like my chat helped me get this chair. Like they had to pour money into my shit for me to get that, and that helps the people to build. If you just subsidize that, it's the same system. Like you could just, and I hate this because then it gets into the argument that money. But like, can we all just agree before I say anything else? I want to hear everybody's response to this. Can we all agree that money isn't real?
Fuck yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Anybody want to put stock in that? Because like that, we're gonna have a fundamental issue off that.
Yeah,
100%. You're on it.
No disagreement there.
I just feel
Cleo,
like.
do any of you guys think that money is real?
No, I got a point for something earlier though.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
I actually want to address a couple different things, and then I want to throw it straight to Prepper Pig because I want to hear his response on something. When I mentioned earlier, and it's probably like an hour ago at this point, because with these 9 people panels, it's how it is. That I thought that like addressing capital in some kind of a protest was the best way to go about doing things. I gave an example of Amazon. Everyone kind of shot it down saying it was a dumb idea. But I was basically trying to point out the fact that, the people who really have the most power in the country are billionaires and just trying to find a way to make them uncomfortable because that could facilitate some kind of a change. I think Prepper Pig then pointed out the fact that, what we really got to do is like work more with workers, like rebuilding the labor organization, rebuilding like workers, just I guess literacy, just helping them fight back against corporate power a little bit more. And then there were some ideas thrown around about the general strike idea. And I kind of was confused by it because in my mind, I'm thinking if we can't get enough people to band together to boycott a company, I'm going to get enough people to, band together to, essentially go on a general strike. But my question to you, your name's Lou, correct? I don't think. Yeah. My question to you is, I think if we're trying to build up workers in order to get to a place where they can essentially like, I guess, go on like organized strikes to find a way to bring awareness to certain issues, to, like bring certain sectors of the economy to a halt. How do we get from where we're at now to that place? Like what's that transition look like? Do you have an idea on that?
Gotcha. All right. Thanks for that question. So first off, a general strike, just general, like everybody going on strike is a pipe dream. And that's even if you could muster the forces for that, that's 6 years minimum organizing, from now. And we don't have that kind of time. But when we talk about labor, everybody's going directly to strike. That's not the power of labor. That's one of the powers of labor, but labor doesn't have to necessarily strike. Labor just has to have the ability to have that vote and then and then go march or go do something or sway their people in a certain way. I'm working with a labor council now, or I'm, getting involved with a labor council now that has a 501c5 designation. So they can actually talk to their members about politics and do like lobbying and stuff through their 501c5, which you often hear about 501c3s and 501c4s. But you don't have to, like, people think, oh, well, my company has 1,000 employees, and if we go on strike, 1,000 employees have to strike. That's not how strikes work. All right. And the best example, because I do need to run, but the best example that you can study is a place called the Save Market Basket campaign. Anybody here heard of the Save Market Basket campaign? No? Okay. So in a nutshell, a chain of grocery stores in like the Northeast called Market Basket, the owner, this was a job where, you could get a living wage, you could work 30 years, get, a pension, have a retirement account, all that stuff. Everything was good. His cousin swoops in, convinces the board, does this like hostile takeover move, gets in, starts his hedge fund deal, starts liquefying jobs, starts cutting hours, starts, replacing people, starts shutting down stores, all this stuff. So the workers started talking to the union leaders and started learning about union organizing. And they did two things. One, they talked to, because this was a family, store. They talked to shoppers and had shoppers where they could boycott. All right. And the shoppers were dope because they'd go buy their groceries from someplace else. They take their receipts and they tape their receipts to the outside of the stores, of the store windows, and be like, this is the money I was supposed to spend with you. I'm spending it at Walmart. Fuck you. Do your shit. The second thing that they did, because they knew that that even with the union, they couldn't pay everybody. They couldn't pay 100 people to be out of work. So what they did was they found the bottleneck. All right. The bottleneck was the truck drivers. Okay. So they paid the truck drivers to stay out of work. So now you got people showing up to work every day, bag boys, cashiers, stockers, everything. Everybody shows up. There's no merchandise in the store. Why? Because the trucks haven't arrived. Why? Because the truckers are on strike. Everybody's on strike, but the truckers are the ones who get a paycheck, who are able to take care of their families while this thing goes on. All right. And they brought out all the stops. This is going to hurt the economy. This is bad for the thing. These union bosses are, corrupt and everything. But the Save Market campaign won. All right. So labor organizing is about finding those bottlenecks and exploiting them. And our economy has tons of bottlenecks. Almost every, what we're seeing now, logistics, supply chains. One boat stuck in the Suez Canal or where the fuck ever, the Panama Canal, fucked up, billions of dollars of revenue.
And fucking Marx called that in the Communist Manifesto in the 1850s.
There you go. All right. So you find those bottlenecks and you exploit them. That takes high level organizing, and it takes the chops that really only large labor unions have at this point. All right. This isn't mom and pop. This isn't my local, I'm just going to go and organize my neighborhood. You need big labor to jump on board. And that's what big labor is doing right now. The AFL-CIO right now is gearing up for massive campaigns between now and the 24 election. So this is in the works. Can we do it fast enough is the real question that, to my mind. Anyway, thank you for the question. It's been great seeing you all. Matt, get me on your show. Okay. Awesome. All right.
Thank you. 100%. I'm surprised Chris hasn't gotten you on sooner, to be honest. I'm going to bitch at him later for that.
Yeah, I already reached out to them for you.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, actually, before you run, can I recruit you onto my show?
Fuck yeah.
I'm going to send you a DM.
All right. Hell yeah. I'm on Instagram. Also, if you're watching this out there in audience land, you can find me on Instagram at PrepperPig. You can find me on YouTube at PrepperPig. And you can find me on Patreon and support the work that we do here, all on PrepperPig, where I teach organizing, economics, and neat stuff like how to set up rain barrels and get your own free water. All right. I will talk to y'all later. Bye, everybody.
Peace out, brother. Thanks again for coming on.
Too fucking based, bro.
So base. What's up, Ben?
What up? Wait, I'm not Ben.
Okay, now that he's left, I just want to say I have a chatter in here.
Wait, Ben needs to talk.
Oh, go ahead.
His hand is raised. Yeah, and he hasn't talked at all the entire panel.
Wait, really?
No.
How late am I? I'm sorry, my bad.
Ben, are you there? I see his hand raised.
Hey, I don't see somebody. Oh, I see Ben. Okay, that's what it is. I see Ben.
I guess not. Sorry. Go ahead, Paradigm.
Hello.
I forgot what I was.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Oh no, sorry about that. I was muted.
What's up, man? Are you there?
Did you go on mute again?
Too.
I don't know if he went on.
Mic is on.
Try talking again.
Hello, hello.
Yeah. Okay, we can hear you.
Hello again.
I don't know. Maybe his internet's a little bit choppy because I can hear
I
you.
guess. Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, is it working now?
Yes.
Hello, hello. Okay.
We could hear you. Not sure what's going on. Yeah, Ben.
In the background.
I think he's having some internet issues. Let somebody else go while he's figuring it out.
Okay. Yeah, I thought I heard something in the background, but I guess not. Cleo, thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me. Happy early birthday.
Oh yeah, thank you so much.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I also wanted to mention we're in Leo season now, so happy fucking July 23rd to any fire fans out there.
Yes, fire energy.
Really?
Tosh, who's in the background?
Wait, me?
No, I was talking to Taj, but I guess he just turned
okay.
off the camera, so fuck me.
Wait, what happened?
I was asking who's in the background.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's my dad. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yo, what's up?
Who's Jordan? This dude right here in the Hey, what's up, Jordan? Right here, yeah.
What's up, man?
That's Jordan.
Ben,
I just had somebody on a camera pull up and be like, "Yo, who's Jordan?" Oh shit! Copy, it's him right there. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I know there's small ass little screens, so.
Just try rejoining.
Me?
He's got a bad internet connection.
He linked something.
Oh,
sorry, all my connections fading.
Yeah, just rejoin.
I already had the thing pulled up.
Yeah, I've already had a podcast with him on here, so he knows the routine.
Why? He not one of them new ones.
Ben's super fucking dope. He's a ecology instructor. He teaches Tantra meditation.
Did you say he was an economy instructor?
Ecology.
Oh, ecology. Oh, if you said economy, I was gonna be like, oh, I'm roasting the shit out of him. I don't care.
That's not my style, bro.
Why would I have one like pro-capitalist on the
forest.
show?
I'm into like the forest and trees and all that stuff.
I just refreshed the page. I don't know if anyone can hear me now.
Oh, yeah, you're good.
You sound good.
Awesome. All right. Oh, yeah. If you don't mind, I will.
Fuck, I think I'm starting too soon.
Yo, he had it, bro.
Yeah.
I need to just
now. I'm not, it's one of them situations where like I'm bought in now. Like now I gotta hear what you gonna say.
I don't know. Does anybody else have any points that they want to make before we like change the subject or whatever?
I would like to know what the hell, like, how did we get here? Somebody give me a plot recap.
There's only was 2 topics so far, honestly. They just took an hour each.
Yeah. That tends to be how it works.
I even heard it.
I don't know.
We started off talking about civil disobedience, whether or not you should block traffic, and then I think I pivoted that conversation saying that the better idea was to protest capital, and then we got to this, and then here, that's it.
Yo, okay, so let's go on a wild tangent because fuck it. I'm in the middle of my seasons. I don't know how to say this to a group of adults seriously without like explaining everything, and I don't want to do that right now. I think we should abolish the 9-to-5 work week. I think that people should be paid to consume. If you're gonna build a system of capitalism wherein the greatest winners are people who buy your product the most, because
pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
Right, like at this point, with the way of the modernization of society and how like I welcome the microchips. I don't know why the fuck you wouldn't want my brain to be a supercomputer. Like the fact that
I can think of
if I can have
reasons.
100 reasons why. Like,
I mean,
okay.
maybe not 100. I can think of a few.
Everything I'm saying right now is not in the realm of like who's in like reality. I mean, like in a perfect world, the way things would be moving forward, like I would welcome biological enhancements. I can't get that because people still believe in God. You see where I'm going with it? Like we're colonizing different planets. We should abolish the form of necessary capital. I do not think that an electrician would want to give up his job if he knew that people were getting paid like their rent, and he just makes more money because we freed up a bunch of capital by asserting a certain class of people. I think that people should be not only paid to consume but paid to create. Everybody here feels like a content creator in some form or fashion. I hate that fucking word. We're all artists. Let's get that fucking straight. We're artists. They're like, I don't play with your talent. There's a reason why us 6 are here right now. Anyway, like, if you can prove, like, the same way they make people prove their income for food stamps, if you could prove that you create shit 5 days a week, yeah, okay, you're on this stipend program now. You get paid before the company even touches their profits. More people doing that, more people streaming. More people streaming, more ad revenue. More ad revenue, more affiliates in the program. More people able to make more money. More money that goes into gifting other streamers. Streamers are doing big community giveaways. 100 people all gifting 100 subs to each of their favorite streamers. Everybody making money. Twitch get a 50% cut of that. Record profits. Like, why not?
Bezos buys another yacht. All good.
Can I just say something? So, like, I know there's a lot of people in here that are like a lot smarter than me in the sense of like.
Don't say that.
No. I'm just saying, like, everybody in here has been like, damn. I'm like, fuck. I can't even keep up with this shit. But like, at the same time, what I was trying to say in the very beginning, and like what I was saying and what started the whole shit was like me saying that blocking traffic on freeways is counterproductive, because it is blocking the working class from getting to where they need to go. And like, I know me, I work, you know what I mean? I have to work and fucking pay bills, and I got shit to do, And I know a lot of people are in that same fucking boat. So it's like, when you block traffic, it's like you're blocking people from getting to where they need to go. Yeah, it might open their minds, in a certain way. But like, at the same time, it might be like, fuck, I don't want to fucking, like, I don't care what the fuck you're over here protesting. Like, I need to get home and feed my kid.
Can I both agree and disagree with you?
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's what everyone's been doing the whole time. Yeah,
I like that.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, I think that your point is valid. Let me start there. Like, what I'm saying by agree and disagree is like, I'm going to both be empathetic to the cause, and then also like really like, because I think you said it already. I'm just retreading your words. I disagree in the form that it's hard enough to organize and protest a cause that isn't already like threatening people's livelihoods, threatening people's existences, like the abortion ban that kicked in, the reversal of Roe v. Wade, big issues, Black Lives Matter. Like at some point, like your job just and that's where I start to agree with you. See, this is where I like go into it. Like I'm gonna say your job, your certain level of standard of living is not as important as everyone recognizing this global phenomenon. But you could also have targeted that at like, yo, if this is really the way it's going to be, we're going to jam up DC. And then this goes into what the other guy said, yo, we're going to jam up, yo, they're shooting black people. Okay, every truck that goes to a suburban town that ships out goods that should be meant for the inner poor city, we block that road. Like you could target it. That makes sense. So I kind of both like there are causes to it that I would say would be good enough, but I also agree in the sense that like not everyone can care when you're literally blocking somebody who might have like a baby at home that they left. I was left home like as an 8-year-old and I ended up leaving the house because I wanted to share my Resident Evil fucking game guide with everybody. Got caught up in the ACS case. Luckily it got reversed. They understood my dad was working. He was supposed to stay in the home, but that's what I was taught as a kid, stay your ass inside. If I leave you home, leave you home. I got curious one day. Like, if that was a situation where, yo, I'm caught in traffic because of a protest, who knows what happens to that kid? Like, you got to think about that. So I do agree.
That's the thing that I was saying, because I was involved in a lot of those protests. Like, I was going and blocking traffic and shit. And I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. We got everybody on board. Like, And so some dude, like bunch of people got out of their car and came up and we're like, oh, like I got a fucking kid at home. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is bullshit. I got to go feed my kid, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, fuck. And then I started thinking about it completely different from how like everybody, like I thought about it completely different from that point, because it's like, fuck, we're over here preventing kids getting fed. And it's not like, I know we're not doing the worst thing in the fucking world. Like, we're over here spreading a good message, but it's just being spread in the wrong way. And that's all I was fucking saying.
Oh, okay. I see where everybody found the issue with your statement. Then I can see what I'm saying.
Like,
because then there's a maximization of, okay, what I ask is, what is the end goal of a protest? Yeah. Like, what is the end goal of a protest? And I think that's where people probably felt like, because I wasn't here, people probably felt like a little bit of an issue, because like the idea of Black Lives Matter as a protest is to end the state-sanctioned violence of the unarmed, like the killing of unarmed black men, or even armed black men. Just like stop thinking of black people as a threat really threatens the foundation of like a lot of institutions. So at that point, I'm gonna like weigh it in and be like, yeah, maybe we should like cause a little like ground violence. Like, hey, maybe you should be upset that your dog didn't get fed and is now needs dialysis. Like, I don't want to get to that point and say it literally, but like at this stage now, with the rising of the alt-right in America and like the clear and present danger to democracy that everybody loves the quote from Sinclair Broadcast, like, who's really like suffering here? Now I gotta really ask that question.
No, I hear what you're saying, but I also think about like the kids that are at home that aren't getting fed, that didn't have babysitters because they didn't have money for childcare. And then it's like, okay, so these people left their kids at home and they didn't have money for childcare because they go to work every fucking day and they can't afford to pay that shit. So they left them at home with, whoever. So it's just like the neighbors maybe, or whatever. You know what I mean? And you don't know their situation. So it's like, you kind of look like the protest is great and you have a good message. You know what I mean? But what's the repercussions of blocking traffic on the freeway? What's the repercussions? And I'm not talking about a suburban like Thousand Oaks or Camarillo where it's a big, like income city. I'm talking about places where it's a low income fucking city where people are poor.
Ben reconnected, so I actually want to hear what his point is. Should be able to hear you now.
Okay, how's that? Am I coming through now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. I think what it was that I was switching apps to read the article, and so I just pasted the article into the chat so that the the window stays open, and maybe that was what it was. But yeah, thank you for bearing with me. And if if my connection starts fading, hopefully I can get through this really quick, and it'll just be food for thought. But it is that Italian factory workers have launched a strike after a man died while working at an automotive manufacturing plant outside Turin on Thursday. The man, 61, fell unconscious and hit his head while performing routine tasks. According to La Stampa News Daily, efforts by colleagues to revive him with a defibrillator were unsuccessful. The official cause of death is currently being investigated by police. But with temperatures pushing 40 degrees Celsius in parts of the country, heat exhaustion is thought likely to be responsible. Factory workers from the local area organized an 8-hour picket on Friday outside the Dana Grazzano plant in Rivoli, where the man worked. Italy is in the midst of a scorching mid-July heat wave, and most factories do not have air conditioning systems. From the FIAM CGIL Metalworkers Union say they have recently received multiple reports of factory temperatures reaching over 35 degrees Celsius in the Piedmont area. Yeah, and it goes on, but basically I was astounded when I found that the only regulation protecting from temperature was that they said that there should be approximately a 7-degree difference in indoor from outdoor temperature, and they're going to have to adjust that as we go into these the higher temperatures with these heat waves. So I thought I would share that, and hopefully people take that and put that in their pipe and smoke it.
Yeah, you're 100% hitting on the intersectionality of the working class struggle as it relates to the rapidly expanding ecological crisis of climate change.
And that's what I was thinking about, was that with the heat wave, I just saw that in New South Wales, a scientist was like testifying before some committee and said that at the current situation with the climate, humans are not going to survive beyond 2100. That's 88. That's not even 80 years. That's 78 years from now. And so I think that article is a really good point, because when I start to like think about what is going to get people to start like understanding like that they need to start taking action against some of these things, it's when it starts affecting them, right? And
especially if you're a conservative, you don't give a fuck about anything until it directly impacts you or your family.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that we see that with both pandemics now. People are starting to sort of wake up to, oh, well, shit, like I'm having to go to work and fucking get really sick. And, I'm bringing home this fucking disease and killing one of my family members with it. Like, why am I having to go to work in this shit, for $15 an hour? Is this worth it? Or having to go to work in a heat wave like that. I mean, that's totally inexcusable. And I think that now that these and all these issues are related to the climate, like the pandemic, even monkeypox, it's all related to the climate, and it's starting to affect people, And I think when it starts to affect them more, then they start to wake up and maybe do something about it. The question is, will it do enough? Or will
Is it
be
normal for California to have monsoon weather?
Well, the last few years.
Because I don't remember like the Bay Area having thunderstorms.
Because like I've been to Chicago, and I remember it was like really, like it felt just like this, like moist, humid. Like you walk outside and you're just wet already because of the fucking weather. This is like not normal for California, in my opinion. I don't know. I've lived here my whole life, so.
Okay, so here's what's strange, and I'm gonna do this because it's funny to watch people's reaction to this, and this is what I do. Desmond, Heather, 805, you already know the deal. You already know I do this. Cleo, I got a question for you.
Okay, go.
You're not gonna have them nice ass nails and sit there doing nothing, lady. Here we go. I apologize if you do not identify that way.
Excuse me.
Is what you just heard? Does it feel like a scene out of the movie The Day After Tomorrow?
I haven't seen that movie.
Ah,
Same
now I
state,
can't do
right?
the thing. All right. Anyway, it was like, Doomsday. It's your regular 20. Did you see the movie 2012?
No.
Oh, okay. I guess I have to go outside. At this point,
Bro, that movie is crazy. Yeah, it's
It just sounds like I have homework to do. So
yeah. That's me giving out the homework. So in these post-apocalyptic scenes, they were saying the exact same lines. They were like, "This
Don't look
weather."
up in British media after this.
Exactly. They were like, "Yo, these are record temperatures for California. We're seeing a drought like we've never seen before. Certain areas are getting thunderstorms and tornadoes that have never seen them before in their existence as we've formed as a nation ever since weather was being kept. We're living in that time now."
Yep.
I have this question I pose to you. Does that reasoning alone, that you've heard it confirmed from one person here, and it's a movie plot, just random, B movie shit, does that trump anyone's desire to live a normal life? Does that cause, and fighting to fix that cause, trump any person's desire to live a normal day? We'll call it that. Like, is it okay to interrupt someone's day? If we could interrupt, no, that's making me force the answer. I'm sorry. Is it okay to interrupt someone's day for a cause that massive?
That's directed to Cleo, correct?
Yes.
Oh, okay. As far as interrupting their day, I would say no, but I think that that's where activism needs to come into play. And necessarily blocking off freeways and highways is not the answer directly, but having workshops and committees and to start implementing plans at like government levels, like within your local governments, is the first steps to change. Bringing awareness to it and not disrupting anybody else's regular day-to-day work life.
Okay. A piece of the polar ice caps is meant to melt in the next 6 years. We've got 6 years to do what you just said.
Can I just say something? So, I feel like 80% of America is stupid, and like
You just said
I
I
know
said
I'm
70
not smart.
earlier.
I ain't the smartest.
Oh, we went up by
No,
10.
bro,
Oh
I'm not smart.
shit.
I'm just saying, no, I'm not that smart. Like, I'm kind of stupid. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be real. Like, I'm kind of dumb.
Are you
But
part of
like
the
at
80?
the end of the day, like 80% is like dumber than me. So I think but like at the end of the day, I know for a fact that like most people don't care. Like they're gonna be on the freeway and getting blocked in traffic, and it doesn't matter what the cause is. It's just they're gonna be like, fuck again. Like I'm over here trying to get home. And that's their mentality. Like that's literally the way they think. Now I might be like, you know what? I fuck with what these fucking people are standing for. I fuck with that shit. You know what I mean? But like 80% of the other people in traffic are gonna be like, get the fuck out. Stop fucking getting out of your car. I need to go home. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just like, that's it. And it sucks.
So
I hate that that's the truth.
No.
Right, no.
I
You're
gotta
right.
I gotta go to Heather and then
yeah,
Desmond because they raised their hands.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't know you could raise your hand yet. Oh my God.
Well,
I've just been interrupting. I'm sorry.
I want to answer Paradigm's question too, because I was thinking about that video I was talking about from that scientist in New South Wales. Okay. She said, humanity is not going to survive. This will be like an extinction event in 2100. Now, that's 78 years from now. I have a 5-year-old. So he will be 83 years old when humanity is expected to no longer be able to survive these conditions. Okay, so he could still be alive. I mean, this could be in my son's lifetime. So very, very respectfully, I don't think that there's time to wait anymore for all these fucking committees and bureaucratic fucking studies and the president has directed so and so to look into a possible solution we could maybe implement after, 8 fucking years. There's no fucking time. 78 years is like nothing.
Climate change? What's that? More money for Ukraine? Are you telling me we need
right?
more money to Ukraine?
And so in answer to like paradigms, what Paradigm just posed is like I think there are more, like, we have to take more urgent action, right? There are going to have to be more drastic things that happen now, because 78 years is not a long time. And we see how long the government look at what they did with Roe. They had 50 years and they did nothing. 78 years is not much longer, and then it's done. So I
honestly agree with you. I agree with both of you. Like, honestly, I really do. I don't disagree with Paradigm or you, and like I'm like seriously, like I fucking agree with you, and I understand like your way of thinking, and I fucking get
Desmond has a point too, Taj.
Oh, my bad. I don't want to interrupt anybody.
All good. I know he's about to leave too.
Yeah. I'm just gonna make one final thing. When I hear this conversation, it just feels like it's missing something. And what I mean by that is, like, I think most people understand that climate change is a big deal. Maybe the degree to which you think that might vary on a scale, but most people think about it in some way, shape, or fashion. And when I say most people, I should probably preface that with saying most people who might find themselves like in the center or on the left, because most people on the right don't currently feel that way, which is, I think, a testament to the power of the right-wing propaganda machine, which is something I just talked about on Erica's podcast, Cocktails and Capitalism. We just had a whole conversation on this. Like, they spend a relentless amount of time telling people that it's not that big of a deal. I was in a sports-related podcast like a few weeks ago with a guy who I know is a Republican, and we briefly talked about politics for like a few minutes. And in that time, he made a comment about, like, well, if climate change was real, why did Obama just buy beachfront property? And I didn't respond to it in the moment, but it's comments like that I know that are probably on the minds of like millions of people because of how prevalent and how pervasive like right-wing propaganda can be. And so my thoughts when it comes to this climate change conversation is like, how do we destroy that narrative and just bury it into the ground? Because there's so much disinformation out there. There's so much misinformation out there. I mean, that's why you don't get any traction. Whenever America's like divided generally, it makes things harder in order to get anywhere. But just because people are united doesn't mean we're going to get somewhere, but that's probably the best place to start. And frankly, as far as like the 50 years to get Roe thing was just mentioned there, Heather, the government, I mean, this is a different conversation in general, but the government had many, many reasons why they didn't want to codify Roe. I mean, it's been such a great fundraising opportunity for them over the years. They had no financial reason for codifying Roe, which is the only thing that ever works in Washington is the financial aspect to it. If there was no financial reason to do it, they weren't going to do it. They don't care about human rights. These people are monsters. What are you talking about? Human rights? They don't care about that shit. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say about that. I think when it just comes to this, my final thing is like, if we're going to talk about climate change, we're going to talk about how we reach people who currently don't give a shit, because that's the fight that we're in right now. People don't take it seriously. They're like, well, I'm not burning, so why do I care?
Yeah, that's kind of my point.
That's why I was sorry. That's why I was like,
we got to get to the UK after this, please. We got to get to the UK.
We're going to the UK?
No, we're going to talk about the UK heat wave and the British media and Don't Look Up.
Oh, heard you. Let's go. Okay, so I'll make this fucking quick. So I think that's why I posed that question, and I posed it to Cleo because it felt like I felt like they deserve a spotlight, because everybody deserves a spotlight. I'm gonna ask y'all all questions, but I felt like I was talking already.
On that note, I'm actually gonna get out of here, y'all. I gotta get going. But it was good seeing everybody.
Bye, Desmond.
And I will see y'all hopefully in another panel soon. Join us, do this again sometime.
All right, sounds good, man. Thanks again for joining. Have a good rest of your night, Desmond.
Later, man.
See y'all.
See ya, thought.
I don't know, Paradigm. That felt a little personal.
Nah, I mean that. See, that's the thing about me that's different from a lot of these people, these internet personalities. I mean that shit with my heart. Like, I felt like you weren't talking a little. Based on like I was dominating the conversation, and I was like, hey, like I see you down there ready to have a thought. Like, let me give you the spotlight. Everybody deserves their chance. I know I talk a lot, and I
He was
apologize
just
for
trying
that.
to
But
bring
like,
you into the conversation.
yeah,
He wasn't trying to offend you.
No, I'm sorry if it felt that way. I know most people here are very like
I'm fucking
aggy.
around.
Oh, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm making sure, bro. Like, I don't know what's popping. I just want to make sure everybody good. Like, I can do banter too. I have people I have beef with. Like, I hate people. I hate everybody, yo. What the fuck is he talking about? But yeah, I think that's what sorry, that's why people were like the idea of the concerns of the people at the protest. It's like at some point it just becomes your concern anyway. And if you ignore it, you're gonna just what? Not look up? Look at that transition. Let's go. Now go into it. Now do your thing.
Okay, Heather, I feel like you would be great at like setting this up. So the other day in the UK, they had a major heat wave, like back-to-back days where it was over 100 degrees. And like 3 months prior to this heat wave, you had a bunch of clips of the British media just downplaying this. And how fucking ridiculous was this? Oh my God.
Yeah, I think I sent you guys that, or maybe you, or like I think we like all of us sent it at some point. That clip of like that meteorologist is like no, really, this is very serious. It's going to be very hot. People need to like be taking shelter, and they need to be like drinking,
Yeah, the
staying
scientists.
home. And scientists are like talking about, and the whatever, like the anchor.
She's like,
or whatever
I'm
she was,
tired of all the
she was like,
BBC scientist doomsdayers.
she goes, I just want to, isn't this a good thing? Isn't a hot day a good thing? And it was like,
Haven't we always had hot weather?
and it was like straight out of that movie, and that clip went viral where they had the clip of the movie and then the clip of of that interview in the UK. And I think that happened with COVID too. Like a month ago, they had a clip from the movie, the same segment, and then another clip with the same thing where like a scientist is literally like telling you, no, you need to pay attention. And this anchor is just like, oh, but let's have some positive news. Why do you always have to be such a downer?
Yeah, I'm so glad that went viral.
I know, like, what the fuck? And oh my God, can we just like talk about for a second how horrible the media is at covering climate change?
Yeah.
Like whenever we have just an astronomically abnormal hot day, whether it's Southern California, whether it's New York, what do? They just show like kids playing in a fountain. They just show like people eating ice cream.
Ice cream.
It was a hot day today, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, the streets of New York were open today as record temperatures reach 104. Ladies and gentlemen, it was crazy out there today. We wanted to interview some of the people who decided to party out here, and I'm watching people melting.
Let's be happy about it.
Everybody's having fun. Everybody's having a good time though.
And you have to look at like why they do that, right? Like look at like, again, like to bring up my kids. I have an 18-year-old. I have an 18-year-old, and she looks at the situation with the climate and she's like, I'm not going to college. I'm not going to work. I'm going to stay home and I'm going to learn how to farm, and I'm going to learn how to like survive so that I can keep the rest of you people alive. Look at college admissions. They've dropped considerably because you have younger generations who are looking at this and they're like, well, fuck this. I'm not gonna go into this economy. I'm not gonna go to college. I'm not gonna go get a job. I'm gonna learn to survive. If the media does not portray it as being like okay and happy fun times and ice cream and day at the beach and shit, people start to feel hopeless, right? And then they stop giving into that, system, the system of college and work and sitting on the freeway for an hour because there's a protest trying to get you to wake up.
Well, yeah, no one wants to do that anymore. No one wants to fucking go to work. Fuck that shit. Fuck work.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, what the fuck?
It's just so goddamn annoying.
But that's why they do that. They do that intentionally because people want to hear happy news, because if they don't feel happy news, they start to feel hopeless. Right. And then when they're hopeless, they don't spend money. They don't, if you start farming in your backyard, like I just said, my daughter, she's like, I'm going to learn to farm. That's what I'm going to do this semester.
Yeah. Like,
so,
how many of you guys know what's going on in Sri Lanka?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But that's only because all of us closely follow politics. Like, you don't hear a fucking
nobody knows
that on the media. That's a major international
When it comes to politics, I'm out the loop, bro. Like, I've been out the loop for the past fucking year, bro. Like, I can't handle it anymore.
Okay, so Taj,
Can I ask you a question?
You're actually an example of what I'm talking about then. People that don't know what's going on because the media isn't talking about this major story. Basically, Sri Lanka's government has completely broken down. It's a failed state at this point. People can't feed themselves at all. People can't clothe themselves. They've ran out of fuel in the country. And it was to the point where like 1 million people stormed the president's fucking palace, like in this motherfucker's house, in his office, swimming in his pool, like chased this dude to the point where he was scared for his life. He had to leave the country. And then now, like a week or so has passed by, and now he's the president again, the same return guy. So the country's completely unstable. You haven't heard shit about this in the media. That's a fucking massive international story. And like, what the fuck? But it's asinine, really.
Well, again, because then people are going to start questioning their own circumstance,
their own government.
right?
Yeah.
Can't be doing that.
You know what? Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Your name is Taj.
Yeah.
What type of music do you like?
Man, I like all types of music.
This dude's actually a musician.
But yeah, I'm a musician.
That's a good. I like that answer. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
No, it's just like because I wanted to give you a little bit of a prop. I think, and I know this is so counterproductive to my brand. Oh my God, they're gonna clip this out of existence and bury me with this. I don't think politics is important enough for the everyday person to care about it. It affects them in the way that like we're not doing anything about climate change, and they're all gonna like probably have a really miserable existence, But at the same time, I do need people to at least keep shit functioning. Like I need at least people to have some form of, there's some type of beauty in the existence that I perceived. And if I die today, that's fine. I need people to have that. So I was wondering, like, what do you do, like, to be able to keep your head out of it? And it's like, I smoke weed and I do music. I do music too. I understand that. I feel that. There's nothing else to it. I just want to give you props for that because it's like some people be like, I'm out of the loop, but all I do is play COD. Like you create things, and that's cool. And so,
I'll let Taj respond to that, and then I'd also like Ben to chime in because Ben actually teaches meditation and Tantra, and I feel like he would have a lot to say in terms of like mental health and everything that relates to your question.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. I'd love to. Was someone else going to go ahead?
Yeah, Taj first, and then I'd like you to speak, Ben, after Taj.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, my bad. So yeah, like I try to incorporate like some politics in my lyrics and shit. Like, so I try to like make it semi, not all political, but like I try to incorporate it a little bit. But like at the end of the day, it's like, I think everyone has lost hope, bro. Like at the end of the day, I know that sounds fucking grim and dark, and like I know no one wants to hear that, but like a majority of the people that like, I've talked to just in general, just like my friends and just people that like I grew up around, and a lot of them I've tried to tell them like these things, like, yo, fucking stimulus. You don't think they got more money for? And it's like, this is the way it's always going to be. Like, what are you going to do about it? Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? Like, nothing can be done about it. And it's just like, that's the way like 90% of people really honestly, truthfully think. And so, yeah, waking them up is good, but it's like, fuck, man, like you can't really wake people up that don't really want to be woken up, bro.
Okay, so this is the fucking, oh my God. Now it always ends here, bro. It always, no. It's the Matrix thing. It's just, that's the pun. It's the like, yeah, you really can't, because like, what would you do with them once they get the message. Like, you got to have a next plan. You got to be ready to, like, all right, we're pulling you out of the vat chamber. We're going to put you on the ship. We're going to explain it to you, download you, plug you in. You think they could have done what they did with Neo for like 100,000 people a day? They don't got no infrastructure for that. Like, you can't just pull the plug at any point. They die if they're not ready at a cell phone, like at a pay phone. Yeah, no, absolutely agree. Here's my thing though, and I'm saying this to you personally, not as the paradigm shift to guest, because that's what your name is over here. It's guest to me. I'm saying this as Marquise.
Yes.
I'm saying this as Marquise to you.
I'm just a guest, Jordan. What the fuck?
I think you got to put your name in when you.
Yeah, it lets you add your name, motherfucker.
But I'm gonna change that. I don't know how. I've always said, like, I would love to run for president. I would love to be. I'm gonna change that. Personally, I'm gonna die behind that line. Martin Luther King had a thing, and I've watched civil leaders all my life have just get close enough to make the point valid. I'm gonna give material results. I'm gonna roll up in the White House and I'm gonna be like, yo, look, I'm not here for the whatever political game you want, whatever. I'm here to pass 6 things and I'm out. I'm done. Like, don't talk to me. I don't care about y'all. Like, good luck. I'm here to you got to give people material. Why would I do that to myself? You got to give people material results. That's the only way that people listen. And that's why I agree with you. And like, people don't care, because if they care, then they have to do something. And people don't have time to do shit. I got 3 kids. I got college. I'm trying to be better for myself. My dad's a drunk. My mom literally left us, and like, I have no support system. I got to get this money. I got to get this paper. All of that is state sanctioned violence. The system, and I mean this to swear to God, you're gonna hate me because everybody hates me when I do this. Monopoly. There is no buyback system. You lose when you run out of money. You don't get back in the game. So people are playing on their last roll all the time. And I mean everyone from people who make no dollars a month to people at like maybe 40, 50 grand. That's a huge sector of the world right now. All of that could be fixed if somebody wanted to. I got to be that person, because you're right. Ain't nobody doing it now. We could do it. We could do it right now. Yo, tomorrow we could wake up and this shit could be Christmas. I plan these logistics. There's a 400-page book of shit that I'm talking about on just this one idea sitting right there. I'm going to be that person because I feel like nobody else, like Bernie Sanders was close, but it's like, it's half package. Like, if we want to do good, I really genuinely believe that the people here want to do good. If we want to do good, we got to give people material results now. They tired of hearing about Karl Marx and theory, and like the government was giving out $1,400 checks. People was making record profits. I will give the corporations record profits. I was able to live though. That's fine. If that's how capitalism works from now on, where people have a stability point where they can then become that next person as things change and we need different things, sure. But right now, nobody could play the game, so why should they care? How are we going to fix climate change? Everybody leave your cars on the road. That's a risky bet, right? Leave them on the road and absolutely jam all. What's the infrastructure to get rid of a car on the road? Oh, now you got to do it. You got to hire a bunch of people. Oh, so you mean that there are ways that, what if we all took a bus? Then the protest happened and everybody on the bus, we gave the bus a lane to pass. Now you just got rid of 50 people who can all see a message while you still blocking 4 lanes of traffic. Yeah, shit goes slow, but most people ain't driving their own cars because we left them all in the road. See, we could do shit, but material results make them cry. I think who was it, Prepper Pig?
Yep, I think so.
Had it perfectly right. You could strong chokehold the systems that can afford it. Because at this point, like, yeah, the normal person, and that's why I was saying I agree with you, they shouldn't care. They shouldn't care. They don't have to. Because there should be somebody who does care who can give them something. And that's going to be me at twitch.tv/the_paradigm_shift. I don't know how I'm going to take it from Twitch to the White House, but we on the road. Sorry, I had to.
That's all good. I wanted to go to Ben.
I agree. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, because I meant to go to him after Taj, but I also wanted to let you respond, Paradigm. Ben, are you still there? Did you want to respond to the question that I had for you? I don't know if you remember what it was. Basically, I wanted to ask how
Yeah.
you okay, do you remember the question?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Thoughts on meditation and
Yeah, I wanted
mental
to
health
basically ask
and
about balancing following politics and mental health.
right. Well, yeah, something that comes to mind that's very practical is examining the sort of the friction that comes up when you have a very adversarial, antagonistic relationship with people of opposing ideologies, and it makes it very divisive and very dehumanizing, and it's difficult to zoom out from what you might call an astral perspective and see the interconnectedness, the idea, the notion, if you will, that we're really interwoven consciousness within a greater, we're like drops in the ocean of consciousness, and that, I mean, some people would make the spiritual axiom that that it's a lack of compassion and empathy that's behind pretty much all conflicts, right? Human conflicts. That's, and I tend to agree with that. But the hardest part is that when you're having to go and do real world, real battle with the state, with your enemies, whether you started it or you're finishing it, the reality is that it gets very difficult to maintain that vibration of compassion and empathy, despite what could be happening tactically. And there is an interesting technique that I've learned, that I've applied, that gives a sort of universal blanket blessing to all beings, all life, and all people, no matter what ignorance or malice they're sort of stuck in, that's coming out and manifesting as your enemy. And so it's an adaptation of what's called the Twin Hearts meditation that was established or kind of really worked out in practice clinically by the pranic healing methodology, which is, it's just like, to me, it's like Bruce Lee's it's like Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do for the healing arts. What Bruce Lee did for the healing arts is what Master Choa Kok Sui established with the pranic healing system. So it's worth researching that system in its own right. But it's a much longer meditation. It's generally about 20 minutes and it involves a lot of nuance. But I have, for my own like spiritual first aid combative tactic to get through life in these times, I've really condensed it down to just a couple of lines, almost like a little mantra or like almost like a little haiku, but it's memorable and it works. And I will just say, if I may, I will share that right now. It's very quick and it's not too woo-woo, and you don't have to subscribe to any religious, tradition. If we can agree that the word divine is acceptable in this conversation, and if there's anyone who
Yeah, I think
feels like
Cleo
that's not
just wanted to say
appropriate,
something
we
real
can think
quick.
of something else. But so what?
Did you raise your hand, Cleo?
No, I was swiping away a notification.
Okay.
Sorry.
My bad. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Tantra. Yeah, I think everybody's good with that.
Okay, cool. So yeah, divine feminine, divine masculine, divine all the above and much more. Here, if we can use that term, I'm gonna just ask you all to just relax, and if you feel comfortable, close your eyes and get as comfortable as you can. Take some nice deep breaths, if it's comfortable, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And we don't have to get really tightly synchronized on anything, but it's just a nice relaxed place to kind of own your inner desktop a little bit and kind of like close some inner tabs, if you will. And I will say though, this is for adults only. It's not extremely wild or anything. It's just there's some possible energetic effects that are recommended to be reserved for people who are fully physically mature. So if you are listening to this and you are not an adult, then consult your local pranic healer. But for those listening to who are adults, that's not to scare you. It should be very subtle. But we're skipping more formal sort of warm up. So I'm just going to try to keep it as contained as possible, and I'm not trying to build it up either. So just relax and take it easy, and I will go ahead and walk us through a few steps here. And basically, the idea is to, while you're breathing softly and with a soft gaze or with eyes closed, imagine that there is a ball of burning light on the top of your head, and that is just sort of radiating energy. It's glowing, it's loving, it's peaceful energy, and it's just sort of opening the top of your head like a lotus flower blossoming. And that if you can simultaneously hold that vision of the top of your head opening up with this sort of flower petal like ball of burning light, however you can conceptualize that, is just highly charged energetic portal that you can also simultaneously imagine that your heart center of your emotional center is also dilating and opening up. And if you want to think of it like a spinning disc, you could say that it's also opening up and sort of blossoming, or like a sunflower or any other flower that you like to imagine. And so with those two energy centers opened up, and I'm not doing the breathing right now exactly with you because I'm speaking out the steps, but if you're just following along, I've already got these images already pretty well established for myself, but it's for some people it's the first time. So, most people know they have a heart chakra, if you will, but they may not have experienced equally powerful emotions coming from 6 of the other major chakras that are pretty well established throughout different traditions in the world. So anyway, with that said, the top of the head is glowing and radiating, and this beautiful, warm, loving flower that's expanding, and then the heart is also opening, expanding, and we hopefully all know what that feels like. And now here's where it gets extremely magical in terms of a tactic for peacemaking during struggle and surviving these times, is that if you can imagine that there is this this sort of amorphous, divine, loving, healing energy that just exists like a field of energy, almost like an ocean above the atmosphere, that is just pure acceptance and love and joy and compassion, empathy, and just the essence of all of the most precious moments that we've experienced in life. And then we just have those glimpses of that ocean is always there, it's always available to us, but we kind of have to do sort of like what they did and do the right thing to cool off on that hot summer day, and they popped off that fire hydrant to get that water flowing. Like, imagine that there is a portal that you could open the top of your head up, and that hydraulic pressure of all of that love from all of that divine oceanic sort of fluid of love and compassion can actually just start to enter down through the top of your head and go through the tubing that connects your chakra system, and then start to flow. And we'll like not open it all the way right away, you know what I mean, like try to just let just a little bit in, but just visualizing the potential that this is even possible. If you bear with me, like, let's just start with a trickle and just get a little bit of a stream going, and that stream is just like drops of nectar coming down through the top of the head from that divine love from above, and getting into the heart, and really activating and nourishing that heart chakra. And then this is where we take it to almost like a Street Fighter 2 combo combative, where in the name of peace and reconciliation, you reach your hands out, your palms up in front of you, and about shoulder height and about shoulder width, and you reach the palms out and visualize the globe, visualize the planet Earth just suspended in front of your hands, and that now that you have this this hydraulic flow going, that you can actually send that divine energy from above, through the top of your head, through your heart, out through your arms and hands, and then beaming into the entire earth, and with the intention that you're blessing the entire earth, all beings, all life, all people, and because ultimately you want people to be more understanding and more aware of and more considerate for each other, and then they would sit down and break, share food together, and actually come to reconciliation over all kinds of issues, and that's really what's not happening. So that's a little bit of the political narrative to it, but it's very powerful. And I've had for myself real powerful transformations where I just realized, like, wow, I was holding on to a lot of resentment, and I didn't want to lose my fight. I didn't want to like forgive without, I didn't want to forget and forgive without justice, you know? And I don't see this as a spiritual bypass of like, I'm going to do this so that I can spiritually bypass the rage that I feel. I'm going to appropriately alchemize that righteous rage energy into constructive, creative acts, and actually use that energy to tear up the sidewalk and grow a garden, you know, like Ron Finley did in South Central, and has done a lot, like a lot of people. I mean, that's one example of like transmutation of destructive energy into creative. I don't want to get on my own soapbox, but I will say that it is an interesting life hack, to realize that actually operating at a lower level of like the stack of how human psyche works. And if you really cultivate that, which the pranic healers do, they cultivate it as a prerequisite for them to conduct themselves as a business official practitioner of that trademark. I don't represent it because I'm a little bit rogue. I'm a little bit off the rails. So I don't say that I'm selling that as a service. I will say, go to your local certified practitioner and have them explain a lot more of this to you. But you know, this is, to wrap up, this is how I put it into short words, is that like if you need this to come back to you at some point, I say, golden light from above fills my heart with bliss. I bless the earth with loving kindness. That's the first line. Golden light from above fills my heart with bliss. I bless the earth with loving kindness. And then the second part is, I humbly invoke for divine healing. Blessings be to all without exception. I humbly invoke for divine healing. Blessings be to all without exception. And it's that last part of the without exception that you can feel a little bit of a tug to be like, no, I want to hate everyone, or I want to hate my enemy. But when that little script, that little piece of that code executes, and you realize, like, wow, I'm holding the earth, I'm bathing it in divine love, and I'm like, I'm not like using any kind of authoritarian dogma. It's very open-ended. It's very open source. So with that said, thank you for bearing with that. It was a little longer than I expected, but I think I delivered what I intended. So thank you for
Ben, I would like to
you.
respond to that. It's something I've never told anybody in the world, so I think now's the time. How deep is everyone's faith here? I'm gonna test these waters real quick. So what I just experienced was something that I've never experienced before, and I'm going to tell you guys. Okay, in 2012. Okay. All right, here we go. World, gotta know, because they're gonna have to know sometime. Okay. In 2012, I went to Virginia with my then girlfriend at the time, and we went to a Five Guys with her and her friends Zach and Caroline. I thought it was a little bit of a weird relationship because he was 26 and she was 19. Whatever. This is important. That detail is important. Trust me. So my like Virgo senses were like off. I was feeling like a different thing, but I was feeling something I've never felt before. Whenever I looked at Caroline, it was this impeding heartbeat that was going left, right, left, right, left, right. but the left was louder than the right, and I've never heard anything like that in my life. I remember before when I was a kid, I used to say to people, yo, if I look directly into your right eye with my right eye, I can tell you how you're feeling. For some reason, I thought this would be a cool parlor trick to show to this person named Caroline. So I did it with her. And for the first time ever, I held her hand. I then, in my head, started seeing visions of two people in her head. It was this really nice, beautiful rose of a girl, so cheery, so excellent, so esprit. She just knew how to make everything a garden. And there was this other girl, this loud, boisterous, evil, like, I'd shoot you if given the chance type of people. But they're both screaming at me the same thing. What are you doing in here? And I asked them, and I'm picturing this in my head at the time, so it's like these don't have voices, but I can hear them still. And I asked them, where am I? And they were like, you're in her head, stupid. Or at least the bad one said that. The other one was like, I'd love to show you around, but I don't think my other friend is going to. Do y'all hear that, or is that just me? Okay. Just making sure. I got me nervous. I thought that was my air conditioner. I was like, oh shit. So after they said that, I immediately pulled back out and I opened my eyes and I told her, there's like two versions of you. This really nice cheery girl and this really like terrible evil girl. And she started laughing nervously and she was like, who the fuck are you? Are you FBI? Are you CIA? Like, what is this? And I'm like, why? What? Like, did I like guess something right? She's like, yeah, I'm bipolar. And then I did it again to a person who was very skeptical that I ever did. And I'm skipping over all the stories. I'm only going to tell two more just because I really want this to land for Ben, because at the point of what I'm saying is the end of this. I then did it with a friend of mine who was very skeptical about anything spiritual at all or anything like unlocking the mind. She's a very technical girl. She develops apps. She's really cool. Now, let me tell you, that's my home girl. Like, but she went to school in Australia. She left us. Now she got to deal with spiders. So we were hanging out one day. She came back and she was like, I want to really spend time with you because I think you're a cool person. And I was like, yay, that makes me, because she knows I need validation. Anyway, I'm talking her up so much because I like her. She's a really cool person. So she talks to me about it, and we end up going to a Barnes & Noble's, and in the back section on the third floor, she's like, do it now. And I'm like, this isn't a fucking parlor trick. You can't do this on command. Like, you can't, hey, yeah, I thank you for the I appreciate like, you can't do this like as a you gotta be I gotta be in a place to like want to do that. She's like, no, do it now. So I did it. And I was like, you know what? This will be the time I get it wrong. Because every time I've done this since then, it's been in my element and I've gotten it right. And that's why I'm saying I'm not going into them. But yo, this is the time I'm gonna get it wrong. Go inside her head. And I'm assuming that we're calling it this at this point because that's how it's been the last couple times. And inside her facsimile of a mental picture, I see this boy. This boy is just running and he jumps and starts falling through these 4 thick glass panels. And I want you to picture, I swear to you, I remember it as clear as, there were like, like human-sized thick glass panels. Like, think of like an entire floor of an office building being just one big slab of glass. He goes through 4 of these, heavy, breaks bones. It's bad. It's looking terrible. and he hits the ground. He hits the ground, and he gets back up and walks up these like cartoonish steps. You know the cartoons when they used to have the spotlight on the character that was drawn, like it was just an all black screen with the white spotlight, and then the character were moving it. It looked like that. That's what the whole place looked like, a black void, pure straight black, like it was drawn with this spotlight over these 4 panels, and the thing is deep. It's got to be like a 10,000 foot drop. I don't even know how I can see him. I just zoom in, and the kid walks up these stairs that are on the side of the glass panels and just keeps jumping over and over again through the 4 panels. So eventually I'm like, this is kind of fucking stupid. Like you could just do something else. But I don't know why I said it like that. So I go down the steps and I'm like, I've never tried to like legitimately talk to anything I see in my head, because I feel like that's me imputing on it. This is not a real gift. Like you're just making up a story, and it's you're doing that thing where it feels close to, you know, the psychics, you know, they do the thing where it's like, I'm thinking of a name, Jordan, Jason, da. This wasn't like that. I stopped that boy, and immediately I see that his right leg is chained to the ground, almost like, you know, how you used to see it again in the cartoons. It was the nail in the ground with the chain, and it had the like the metal brace, and they were like, you can't get away, the spike trap, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It was that. And somehow with that chain, him on the floor, he's still walking up the steps. So I'm like, this doesn't work in physics. I've never seen anybody do this. So he jumps again, and when he hits the ground, I grab him. And for the first time ever, I feel and I can see him. And I pull him up, and he's wearing blue jeans, a nice little ripped white tee, and you can see his right leg was bent like all the way around. Foot broken the other way going to the right side. I'm thinking on, if it would be left to me, it's right to them. Yes. And I ask him, yo, do you see the exit door right there? I say this to him just like this. Do you see the exit door right there? Why would you keep doing this? This feels counterproductive. And he was like, well, it's the only memory she has of me that seems to stick around. So I would be a dick for leaving. Walks back up the steps, does it again. I'm like, all right, I'm thinking of fucking anime scenes right now. There's no way this is happening. Pull out, and I tell her the whole story. I'm not even going to bury the lead on this one. She's like, yeah, that's my friend Ryan. He died when he was 14, and you correctly described what he was wearing, how he was talking, and the fact that he jumped from a 4-story building and broke his right leg on the way down. Like, the whole fucking plot. So, of course, I was sitting here and telling her, like, you're fucking lying. Like, at this, you're feeding my ego. And she's like, Marquise, you know me. Like, you know me as a person. If I wanted to crush you right now, I would easily take that opportunity. Without even, I would just like laugh about it and like I would make a whole joke of it. No, you got that right. Okay, now we got a problem. The last story I'm going to tell you, and that's why I appreciated Ben for sharing, is that it is true, if you spread your light, even if it attracts the negativity, they have no choice but to be bathed in positive. I met a person who to this day is the worst person I've ever met, and I did the same thing, and I was able to rekindle the last picture that she ever had with her father before she died, because the inner child in her head was wearing a yellow bonnet and a blue dress, and that was the outfit that her father gave to her before he died. And I was talking to both the father and the inner child, and I was hearing all the memories. Have a good night. I'm sorry that took up most of the time, but y'all needed to hear that. The world kind of needed to hear that. These are real accounts. These are not stories. I'm not making that shit up. I know I barely got an audience at this point, but I'm telling you, yo, when I tell you I'm gonna change the world, I got to. Because that's something that's been happening to me. So if you have a thought in energies, maybe I'm just a lucky guesser. Maybe I should play the lottery. But it don't work that way. It only works with people. So like, if somebody could teach me how to work it for the lottery, I'll make everybody rich. I cut 40, 50 G's right off the top, bro. I swear I got you. But yeah, that's my story. Thank you for listening.
if I could make one comment to appreciate that and validate that, there is a
Absolutely.
documentary called Third Eye Spies. If you watch Third Eye Spies, you have a lot of your work will be cut out for you if you want to take that to the next level for sure, because you're already way ahead of the class if you watch Third Eye Spies.
Will do. Thank you.
Third Eye Spies. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it's basically a very, I don't know how they unsealed and declassified a lot of what was in there, but basically, if you ever heard about, there's sort of a mockery made of Project Jedi and the sort of, it was made into the film Men Who Stare at Goats, but basically there's been, I mean, it's not a secret that secret agents all over the world are attempting to co-opt spiritual and psychic abilities for remote viewing, for tactical and strategic intelligence gathering and whatnot. And what this documentary goes into more so than anything I've seen, and it doesn't, I mean, they interview people who are really actually directly involved with a lot of the activities, and it's very much a trained skill is what you walk away from, is that when they want to train people to do remote viewing, that there are some people who are just naturally gifted, but that they discovered that they could actually, through a methodology, arrive at a point where they were getting high percentages amongst random samplings of people, that they could arrive at the same discovery. So maybe there's a bit of a hive mind or group mind sort of meta thing going on, but it's interesting to watch because it's the people who would try to debunk this stuff as just conspiracy or woo woo or whatever. If you watch Third Eye Spies, it's yeah, it's on one of the top of my list, and it's definitely. I mean, I always say I'm going to get around to lucid dreaming and astral projection, and it's like maybe it's time to get around to that remote viewing stuff and start there, you know, and reverse engineer it from there. It was no
Oof,
joke.
absolutely. No disagreement. Astral projection. Oh my gosh, that's something that I really want to dive into. It's something that like just completely fucking blows my mind.
It's in the refrigerator.
Heather, what do you think about all this? Is your fucking mind just completely blown?
Yes and no. So, my aunt does Reiki, okay? And I have like seen, are you familiar with Reiki at all, Jordan?
Kinda.
So Reiki is like, and I'm sure Ben could probably explain it a lot better than I can, but Reiki is like where you're drawing from an energy and then redirecting it. And there are like hospitals in the Midwest where I grew up where they have like a Reiki department, and they have like these practitioners go in, and like it helps like people that are like end stage cancer, you know, or like really terminal, really sick patients. It helps them to like, you know, heal or have like a sense of healing, or it helps them with their pain. A lot of times it's used for pain management. So my aunt is certified in Reiki. So she did like the whole class thing with the master. And again, Ben could probably explain it more in specificity and detail, but she got this certification and she's able to do it with dogs. Okay, like she's an animal Reiki practitioner. And I've like seen her where she had a Shih Tzu that was very old and very sick, and we were at their house in Palm Springs when this Shih Tzu had a stroke. And it was really scary, and we couldn't get a hold of a vet, and it's like the middle of the night on Sunday or whatever, and she starts doing Reiki on the dog, and the dog kind of like calms down and then gets up and just starts walking around like nothing had happened. So the next day, you know, we get the dog into the vet. The dog had a stroke. They have to do all kinds of tests, scans, and all of that. And the dog ended up dying about a year later. But I mean, I believe all of it, right? Because I've seen her do this in firsthand, in person, like just draw like energy and like she put her hands over the dog and the dog was okay. And I'm not shitting you. In Illinois, where we grew up, they have people that do Reiki that come in, and it's like, I know that like a lot of people, they think it's conspiratorial, or they think, like Ben said, it's woo-woo, or, people just don't buy it. But you have like a regular healthcare system that is implementing this as like a practice for terminally ill patients. Don't tell me it's not real. Like there's legitimacy behind that. So, yeah, and I also think that I really want to check out. Did you say the movie was Men Who Stare at Goats?
Yeah, the men who stare at
The men who
goats.
stare at goats. Yeah.
So I think that this is like why, like my kids and I are watching Stranger Things right now. And I think that this is why like pop culture shows like that resonate with a lot of people, because there is like some of this really going on, right? You really do have groups that are trying to train people to, like have psychic visions or whatever. And then the CIA used to do all that hallucinogenic testing,
And
where they used to give
Petra.
people LSD,
Yeah. Petra.
and then and mushrooms too. I don't know if any of you watched that documentary on Netflix about I think it's called Fabulous Fungi. It's about fungus. But they're talking about fungus and how like it has all these healing properties, and how people, when they hallucinate on mushrooms, they like give it to them in a pill form. And the people start hallucinating, and they have, again, these like spiritual transformative experiences. They had one guy in that movie that he had prostate cancer. They did this hallucination treatment with a fungal pill one time. Like 6 months later, the guy was completely free of prostate cancer. So like, and he had like this, he's talking about how he had this like spiritual experience, and it was so hard for him to explain, but it was like looking into colors and emotions at the same time. And they like sat with him, and it was like this totally spiritual experience where he sees like, the connection in the world, which I don't know if you know anything about fungus, but like fungus is connected in the world, like the trees, like they have,
Mycelium.
yeah, and it's all connected to the other plant. I mean, it's all the interconnected, experience. And then the guy is cured of cancer. I mean, it's to me like I want to know more about it, because I can see so much legitimacy to it. Um, and I agree with the comment that Cleo typed in to you, Paradigm, which is that you clearly have a gift. And it is like I had a friend who committed suicide actually about 15 years ago, and he used to talk about things like the sad old man that he would see inside the mind of like somebody, or the that he would used to tell me that he what person or whatever that he saw inside of me. And at the time, I used to think like, well, this is just totally bizarre. But now I really believe that there are like people that are, I don't know if they're called empaths. Would you consider yourself an empath? Where you can like see and like understand so much more about people than maybe even they sometimes realize. But I think that it's a big responsibility too, which you could probably speak more to. It's because I mean you had a firsthand experience with uh your friend's friend who committed suicide. I mean, like that changes you, right? I mean, you could probably speak to that more.
Oh, answer? No. I'm sorry. I was letting you go. This is gonna get real weird real quick. So I'm gonna just say it, and I hope that it lands the way it lands. The current state of the majority of Black America and the experience that you gain growing up poor does not give you time to experience these things in a non-fleeting capacity. So it has affected me majorly, but I would then have to get into a therapy session with you in order to figure out, like, or have enough time to talk about everything it's made me feel. I know it, and when it comes, it comes. You know, I do my acid trips, do my mushroom trips. I'm ready for ego death, that type of thing. But as far as now is concerned, it's very hard to answer that because it's like it's not the same experience as like. And I'm not trying to be at this point here, but like it's not the same as little Timmy, who you know figured out he could do the thing at a softball game at high. You know, it's not one of those like experiences where like you're free to think. You know, I'm still constrained by the model minorities, stay away from drugs. Everybody seems to care. You're the hyper special kid with the undiagnosed ADHD that never had a support system, whose dad family is all disrupted, like everything's broken, and you got to figure that out on your own, and you gotta put into the idea that love is important and that is what you have been given. It's like a whole spiel. You see what I mean? Like it's like you gotta prep for stuff like that. So at this time, it has changed me. I really want to spend some time and figure out how.
Yeah.
Because this is the first time in my life I've ever opened up about these experiences to people who I wasn't like intimately sharing experiences with, like my close friends or blah blah. Like they know, but never just to an audience of people. Feel a little weird.
Well, and I think that gets back to the like thing that we were talking about earlier about protests, which is that like so many people like they do not have the time because they have so much shit that they are going through. Either it's, you know, the experience, you know, like your experience as a Black man, you know, and all of the struggles that come along with that, or being a single mom who's just trying to get home to feed her kids, or, you know, being a guest worker here in California. I mean, when I think about Taj's question, I immediately think about all the immigrants that are on the freeway, like trying to get home from the fields. And if traffic is stopped and there's a big demonstration, they start thinking like, where's the exit? Because what's going on here, right? And so many, like, to your point, like this gets back to like you're just too busy to like process some of these things, right? Whether it be like an experience that you're having with a friend where you can like intuit what is like inside of them spiritually, or something that's going on in the world. Like it's just we're too fucking busy and we have too much of a fucking struggle. To process things. And isn't that the point? Isn't that like the point? Like if you're too busy struggling, you can never get in touch with these types of gifts. Or if you're too busy struggling, you can never be like able to sit down and have the ability to do a meditation like that. Or if you're too busy, you can never, you know, start thinking about things like the climate.
Yeah, and I think that's really where like capitalism is the main problem in all of this. You know, it's such a negative dominating force in our life where, like you said, Heather, we're never even able to take time to step away from all this and just think about how our lives could even be somewhat materially improved. It's and as Taj was getting back to earlier on the panel, it's so deeply ingrained in our psyche where people can't even comprehend a life beyond capitalism. They can't even comprehend the life beyond the 9 to 5 40-hour work week. And it's what I'm getting at really is capitalism is so all consuming. I think possibly the most insidious aspect of it is the way that it absolutely crushes the individual spiritually.
Agreed.
Yeah, but you still got them grandmothers throwing it back for the church, man, throwing 20 in a collection
You can
plate.
get an
Come
iPhone,
on.
but you can go get a Big Mac on the corner.
Like, that's why when people say, yo, capitalism has done more to lift people out of poverty, it's like, that's the whole point. That right
Capitalism
there
depends
is
on
the whole, like, that is like, you're saying the point. Like, that is it. It is to remove the idea of a necessary floor, because you need unemployment. 100% employment is bad. You do not want that. Like 100% employment is bad. Every economist tells you this all the time. You need to have people fired. You need to have people laid off. There's a reason why. There's a reason why FDR was so popular, because he was the only one who was like, well, yeah, that's true. We need that, but could we do something for them as well? Like, it seems like when the country goes to shit, they give you money, and like you still complain about it. Let's just make it a thing. Let's just make it a thing. We can all sit and create and think and vibe and have cultural experiences where we know everybody coming from a solid home. You know, you can have your issues with your addictions. You can have your mental issues. I'm not obviously brushing these things aside. These are major things, but like, you could have everything. But at least we know where everyone is experiencing them in. I'm not worried about a homeless dude coming to me on the street who hasn't had mental health care, because it's just a dude who need mental health care. Like, you see how I remove a step? All of a sudden it's different now. Oh, a dude who live up in 3B, he be banging his head on the wall. We should get him some help. Sound a lot better than, oh, the dude, the crackhead on the street that always be banging his head on the wall. I hate it. I wish like the police would arrest him. You see how the language changes? Just the language alone puts a different vibe in the air.
Yep.
I'm gonna give y'all that. I'm gonna fuck it up. I'm gonna fuck up the presidency, y'all. I'm gonna make it crazy. Y'all gonna be like, oh, we could have lived like this. Nah, bro. Y'all gonna be like, yo, 3 terms. I promise you. They're gonna be like, run that back. They go just like a battle rap. Run that back. wait. I missed that. What'd you say? Oh, yeah. Run that back. I got y'all. Don't worry. I got y'all.
I just think that there are like so many people would need so much time to like process, like process and like be like, a lot of people just, they don't know. Like I was talking about with my dad and the food, like he was like, wait a minute. Like he couldn't even believe it for like the first week that we were picking it up. He's like, wait a minute, where is all this food coming from? And it's like, like people are being fed. He couldn't even wrap his head around it, And I think that a lot of people are gonna get like thrown out of your element. And like you were saying earlier, Paradigm, it's like the Matrix. They don't have the infrastructure to pull everybody out all at the same time, because I don't even know how that would work, to be honest with you.
So that's the thing, and that's where I'm going to scale everything, because I do have to leave. I know it is late too. I blow my vocal cords out very often, so I'm trying to.
Oh, yeah, it's very late where you're at. You're on the East Coast, huh?
Yeah. Oh, right. Y'all not even suffering like I'm suffering. It's dinner time for y'all, man.
It's Saturday night.
Man, yeah, in fact, it's Sunday morning for me. Oh my god. What was I gonna say? Come on, get the thread. That's where I want to scale things. Yes, that's where I want to scale things. Me saying that, like, I could just show you how a better life is, that is also an accelerational idea of fascism. Like, that is you see, like, I know where, like, the argument, and that's why politicians, and I understand the game, like, some people just can't come out and say all that. I'm the one who could like fix it for you. Like, I get what that sound like, but see, then that also brings in the idea of, is there any humility? Now we start looking at the person. Wow, he's sounding a lot like that other guy. Let's check his personhood. I teach kids. I'm trying to turn Twitch into a broadcasting place where people can make residual income just by showing up and doing a job, giving people a chance to be broadcasters for their own techniques and their own things. Like we have a segment for the 805 Uncensored podcast every Thursday night on the channel, and like people give subs, and like instead of you getting a 50 cut of the revenue because we're all generating maybe even 24/7 content, you're getting that full. We make sure you get that full. You get 50 subs, that's 50 times 5. We match the balance, but you need funding for that. And then like just stuff like that. Like I got ideas. You take a flat piece of metal, right? And you put it on the front of your car and you heat up the piece of metal. So that way when it snows, you could just push all the snow out the way.
Yeah.
You know, I got a name for it too. The desnowerizer. I got ideas. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I will make my exit.
Yeah, I gotta head out too, Jordan.
No worries. Thanks, guys, so much. I'll let you go, Ben,
Right.
too, as well. I
Yeah,
really
Ben stuck
appreciate you
around.
being
I
here.
appreciate that.
Beautiful stories,
Cheers.
everybody. So
Peace,
much
love.
awesome stuff added, as always. Heather.
Happy birthday.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday, man.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Let's definitely do this again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sounds good.
All right, that was the 805 Uncensored Birthday Bash panel. Good night, everybody. Cheers.